If you could once travel to another world, you could become the son of a high-ranking official who cares about his people, or a noble warrior calmly sipping wine. If not, then nothing else. You could simply become a dull-witted son of a landlord. And there is another possibility: to become a newly minted mentor. Young monk does not understand where his hair has gone. Tor Songshan has 36 peaks, and among them Shaemu is the highest. It is easy to defend and hard to attack, so it is a good place to found a sect. On Mount Shaemu are located 3 martial arts sects: Dongyu in Dongshan, the Daowen Temple in Nanshan, and the Shaolin Temple right at the very summit. The Zhongyu sect is a Taoist sect with a good reputation, many disciplines, developed crafts. One could say it is the largest sect in Songshan. The Daowen Temple is one of the oldest monasteries, although their fame is not as good as Zhongyu's. They say all that is in the past. Although the Shaolin Temple stands at the top of this mountain, it is the worst. The huge Shaolin Temple and only 1 monk and 3 disciples. At night on the mountain summit, the Shaolin Temple monk sadly but calmly announced that he would die that night. His disciples immediately sighed in surprise. During meditation, the old man heard and understood that the situation had calmed down, so he asks the youth not to panic. There is still a little time left, so he wants to explain the consequences, and one of his disciples tells the master, "Now is not the time for jokes." The master tells the crying Qing that he has a pure heart and that he is obsessed with martial arts. Nothing else interests him. The old man asks him to remain the same as he was, even after death. The second disciple thinks, if the master is not joking about his death, then for the good of the Shaolin Temple he will choose the next abbot of the monastery. In his opinion, no one but him can be the abbot of the Shaolin Temple. The monk speaks to Kong in a trembling voice. In the Diamond Sutra, there is a verse: all facets are an illusion. If a young man sees a facet that is not a facet, he will see the Tathagata. If he falls too much in love with the external phase, it will confuse him. The boy thanked the master for the instructions. The old man tells Jai that he was the smartest since childhood and truly inherited his kung fu, so he will pass on to him the post of the temple abbot. After these words, Kong was no less stunned than the heir. With his last strength, the master passes his prayer beads to the tearful Jai while shouting to Kong and objecting. He cannot do that. The monk made the most correct decision and, for his own good, asks the disciples not to get into trouble. A lustful boy in the city watches a girl standing behind the door. He considers himself a magnificent student of university. Handsome and smart, he has gone through many hardships and overcome various obstacles to get this enchanting beauty. The young man, squeezing a juice pack, shouts, "My virgin days will finally come to an end." Pretty girl greets Yuan Zhen only with her soul. Student blushes like an animal and gapes, seeing such beauty. He jumps on her and says that he is a monster who is going to eat her. But the young man did not manage to reach the bed and disappears instantly. Only hair remains. At such a sight, the girl, of course, screamed throughout the neighborhood. Yuan Zhen is transported to the Shaolin Temple, and he does not understand what is happening. Kong tells the second younger brother that now, since the master has died, it is time for them to get to work. Their sect is small, but they still need a leader. After the analysis conducted by Yuan, he realized, "I am a transmigrant." The young man touched his head and froze in shock. Thick hair had disappeared. He definitely did not expect to be transported at such a critical moment. Moreover, others become relatives of emperors, aristocrats, or wealthy businessmen, but this reborn one does not understand how. He is a poor young monk whose master has just died. Suddenly, the boy notices some kind of picture in front of him. Ding! The temple abbot system is activating. Yuan Zhen looks at this miracle in amazement. The young man receives tasks. First, make achievements in the boy's skills. Second, make the Shaolin Temple the largest martial arts sect. Third, make the temple abbot and Jai the leaders of martial arts in the world. The boy rejoices. This flying mirror pays for completion. An unknown voice replies, "Yes, dear owner, during task completion, the system will be configured to sincerely serve you." Yuan hugs the tablet and asks the system to return him back to finish what he started. The newly ordained monk wants to get some information about this world. The system says that folk customs seem to date back to ancient times of the country where the master lived, since there are courts and martial arts here. And there are few people in the market. Everyone leads a businesslike, busy life, and there is almost no place for peace and stability in this world. In short, only the strong can succeed. The young man thinks if he could return to Earth, it would be better for him to stay here with 3 women and 4 concubines. A voice from the system calls him an idiot and warns, if one of the tasks is failed, the owner will be killed immediately. Yuan Zhen is glad that he had enough sense not to dive straight into vulgarity. The boy suggests making a deal and asks to replace his first task with something else. He does not want to train the boy's skills. Kong calls his younger brother-in-arms. Jai says that the master appointed him as the next abbot of the temple, and there is nothing to discuss here. The monk remembers while the owner of the Xuan Ming temple was alive, he left his post to the second disciple and Jai. But the elder hated him back then. He could not object because he respected Master Xuan Ming. Now, with the elder dead, the senior will not wait a minute. Chin, meanwhile, sits completely broken next to the dead master's body and sobs. Ingu thinks that among these three, it would be fairer to choose someone else. The reborn sees his brother-in-arms is determined to fight for power even though Xuan Ming is already dead. Not a single muscle twitched on his face. It seems the struggle for the position of temple abbot is inevitable. Kong, however, would have had a chance to become the next abbot, as was said in the previous location. The guy mumbles to himself, "It's a pity that the decree no longer makes sense, so your plans are futile." He asks the elder why he thinks the master's decision was wrong. Kong says that the youth does not watch his tongue and words, is foolish, rapes and steals, and also does not know Dharma. The heir of the temple looks sternly at his confessor and asks, "Can I not be the abbot of the temple at all?" The elder monk trembled from the sudden aura of Jai. He felt as if he was looking at an angry King Kong. The monk, wrapped in fear, clearly hears from the heir of the temple, "If elder brother is so strong in Dharma, then tell me who is the father of Buddha." Kongu is confused by his words. The boy says that Buddha has no father. Suddenly, Jai's aura becomes even stronger and she says that Buddha's father was King Silfen, the ruler of Kapaluva, and a brother-in-arms who doesn't even know the basics. He defends himself and asks, "Let them ask about something else." Then the newly appointed abbot of the temple asks to name Buddha's mother and hears the embarrassed voice of his brother. This is Mrs. Maya, the wife of King Silfen. Burning with fire, Jai says that this is not true. Kongu does not understand, and eventually it turns out Silfen's wife was only his biological mother. He was swallowed by a peacock, and soon he broke free from its body. Later he took the bird in Linshan, honoring it as his own mother. Jai gives him one last chance and says she will ask further, "Between us, who is more suitable for the position of abbot of the temple?" The elder brother trembles with fear and whispers, "It must be Jai." The chosen one says that again this is wrong. Kongu, holding his head, does not understand why it is wrong again. Could Buddha think differently? The boy says that for Buddha all people are equal, and only they themselves can realize who is suitable for this. Kongu simply remains silent and does not know what to answer. Jai sees a Buddha before him and sees the advantage of the system. The abbot is glad that the elder brother has finally left him alone, and now he has time to examine the advantages of the system. As in his previous life, this lottery system is like a wheel of fortune. The cell where the arrow points will become his reward. The lottery was turned on and rewards will be given once a month. There are 36 cells here, 6 of which are books with secrets of martial arts. Secrets of martial arts: Fuhu Fist, footwork in plum blossom columns, iron head technique, light body technique, hand strength, and sutra on bone marrow. Sacred scriptures: Lotus Sutra, Great Peacock Sutra, Sutra on Power, Sutra of Keshitagarbha, Bangya Sutra, Mingwang Sutra. There were also Buddhist artifacts: a divided bag, a meditation staff, prayer beads, a prayer wheel drum, an incense burner, and a large tripod. Also books on construction. Order of Bell Tower Construction, Order of Mountain Gate Construction, Order of Heavenly Temple Construction, Order of Shaolin Wooden Soldier Construction, Order of Dharma Hall Construction, and Order of Tibetan Sutra Pavilion Construction. Liang: 1 silver liang, 10 silver liang, 50 silver liang, 100 silver liang, 1 gold leaf and 1 gold ingot, various items, ring, knife, pen, kerosene lamp, horse, eagle, and 3 light points in the shape of pills. All these 36 cells: secret martial arts books, scriptures, Buddhist artifacts, construction books, liang, and various small items the system selects randomly. The monk understood. In other words, during the next draw they will turn into different items. The system confirms this, but there is one nuance. Talent is a futile meditation. If the player has no obstacles and fear on the path, he will achieve nothing. And in the game there is no right or wrong, everything goes in its own order. Among the 6 secrets of martial arts, the Sutra on Bone Marrow is the most advanced and energetic, hand strength is intermediate, and all others are low-level books. The higher the level of martial arts, the less the need for them, so he notices. The knowledge in the construction books is only superficial, and because of this he asks himself, will I be able to build my temple? This system is very interesting, and with such prizes he will be able to reach his goal even faster. The boy imagines how everyone will respect him. The abbot, unable to hold back, says he can wait no longer, so with a shout he presses somewhere on the panel. He was hit in the head after that. He says the scriptures are no longer needed, although they are needed for Buddhists. The Shaolin temple is now too poor, so the boy wants to postpone them for later. Most of the goods in this draw are worthless, but there is one single, and the biggest prize in this roulette flickers in his eye 3 light points. Even if nothing works out for him, he still understands. By the law of luck and rewards, beginners can win a prize of medium or higher level. The boy sees the wheel slowing down before him, and right now the following appear before him. Banjia Sutra, 50 silver liang, great tripod, order, build mountain gates, iron head technique, and strength of hands. Banjia Sutra is not very useful for the Shaolin temple. There is not enough silver. The great tripod is not as good as the mountain gates construction token, and strength of hands and iron head technique are not needed by any monk because these are basic martial arts. He won the iron head technique and understands, to become the leader of the martial arts league, this is not enough. Although this technique is a basic martial arts course, to master it, a lot of hard work is required. If the abbot wants to learn this technique, he will have to strike against stones. The iron head technique is a type of physical and internal strength. It uses physical power to strengthen muscles and bones, as well as internal strength contained in the human spirit so that they complement each other and lead to success. If this technique is properly practiced, the head will become stronger than any stone, and that stone will shatter into small pieces. Holding his bald head, the young man says that the martial arts secrets given by the system are very convenient. Right now, he has not only mastered the technique but also reached the highest level in this field. But in reality, he is very confused. Until the need arises, he will not reveal this secret to anyone. First, he must learn to control others. After use, the magical power of this book disappeared, and now it has turned into an ordinary collection with blank pages. In that case, the abbot will not be able to quickly gather a group of martial arts masters because the system may not count this. The boy, wiping his eyes, tells the abbot's brother that it's time to prepare. The abbot stretches and replies that it is still too early. The second brother breaks a stone over his head, and the abbot watches him with admiration. The young man knew that this would really impress. After all, the abbot was an idiot who understood nothing about martial arts. The monk says that this is the iron head technique, and if the brother listens to him, he will learn it in the future as well. The abbot says that from now on he is a different person and can no longer cook, and Chin Yi does not understand what to do now. The leader says that now the young man is responsible for fetching water from the mountains and the elder brother for cooking, and when Chin brings the water, the abbot says he will teach him the iron head technique in 10 days, and the brother thanks him for his kindness. Joyfully and at a gallop, the boy ran to get water. And the abbot thinks that he is just a carefree child. After 2 days, he buried the old monk, and for the future of the Shaolin temple, the abbot decided to descend to the foot of the mountain and look around. For the last 2 days, the boy had eaten only steamed buns and vegetables, and now his stomach hurts unbearably. When the old monk was alive, they helped people for money, but now that he is gone, they will have to manage on their own. But it will be very easy. Shaolin will start recruiting students, and by enhancing its reputation, they will be able to earn more. When Shaolin used to teach students before, they worried about their future. Only a few people join the temple. Very few people are capable of enduring such living conditions. To recruit students, first you need to become famous or offer excellent conditions. Otherwise, with so many different sects recruiting students, no one will come to them in the mountains if there are better places. The boy noticed a little shepherdess. She lived in the memory of the previous owner of this body. Some scoundrels push Lin Ru to the ground and force her to sing another little song. The man says that now it is better for her to play with them. The girl's dog barks and lunges at the offender, trying to protect its mistress. However, the man cruelly hits the animal in the stomach. Lin Ru screams in horror, "Zio Hai," and the second offender smiles and says to her, "Look what happens when we are not obeyed." The offenders grab her and order her to obey, and the shepherdess in despair says she is ready to sing, but behind them, someone's silhouette is already emerging. An unknown person hits one of them in the face, and from the force of the blow, a bloody tooth flies out of his mouth. Yijai considers this a pathetic sight because 2 adult men are trying to assert themselves at the expense of a weak girl. Lin Ru does not understand why the monk is here. The shepherdess said that he must run urgently. Supposedly they are young guys from the village and he is no match for them. The young man understood thinks he is weak. The man, wiping blood from his nose, calls the monk a shameless bald donkey. His friend asks them not to annoy him, otherwise he will grab him by the head, twist his neck, and go kick it around like a football. The boy with teeth like a hare's laughs at the monk only because of his appearance. The abbot hits him in the stomach with his head and says, "Try the taste of his blow." After that, the bandit with a broken nose jumps on him and says the same thing, and the monk doesn't even worry his enemy shouts even before attacking. A Shaolin follower sees this boy has strong boxing technique and an unusual aura, but with his weak aura, even with Iron Head technique, it will be difficult to defeat him. He thinks that Lin Ro is the girlfriend of the previous owner of this body, so he cannot show his weaknesses in front of her. Scoundrel strikes the monk's stone head with his fist. And in the end, after the blow, he grabs his broken arm because the abbot used the Iron Head technique. Jai continues to beat him up already on the ground. And the shepherdess noticed another time that her second offender ran into the forest, abandoning his companion. Monk tells the crippled young man that now he can also go. At the end, he says that his elder brother is a disciple of the Cheng Yue sect, and he will avenge him when he arrives. And the abbot sadly notes that this is a classic plot twist in ordinary fantasy novels. Lin Ru does not understand why the monk is so reckless. She does not know what she would do if he were beaten because of her. A Shaolin follower says that in the online game, he died more than 100 times. He didn't even have time to blink. The girl giggles and says, "Who died hundreds of times? Are you bragging about something again?" The shepherdess heard that Yi Jai called himself an abbot, but this must not be said because if his master finds out, he will punish him. Monk tells his friend that a real abbot stands before them. Lin Ru asks him where his mentor disappeared to. And the abbot says that his master has gone to the blissful paradise. The girl cries and says that Mr. Xuan Ming was a wonderful person. Yi Jai immediately turned to stone upon seeing Lin Ru cry. The monk asks her not to cry. The mentor has gone on a well-deserved vacation. He apologizes and says that she cannot control her tears. The shepherdess gives him an apple and says that she picked it earlier so he can eat it. The abbot considers her a very sweet girl, and since such a merciful sister is his friend, he should return to the same debauchery. At the foot of Mount Sheashi lie several villages and small towns, but among them is the largest prosperous city, the city of Lu. Every 15th day of the first lunar month in the city of Lu is market day. Residents from the kingdom of Zhou come to sell or buy goods and some just to have fun. The monk thinks that with such a variety of people, the city deserves the title of the most prosperous in the district. The boy thinks that today is a wonderful day to promote Shaolin. As soon as he entered the city, people immediately began to discuss him and his appearance. Two monks in a nearby shop are talking. The great master held the title Shariputra, and all who have this title must take an oath to be reborn in another country, but he cannot be reborn without any punishments. The abbot is angry that these foreign monks gave lectures at the foot of Mount Sheashi and really do not believe in the powers of Shaolin. The young man intends to show them what he is capable of. The boy strikes the system mirror and says that sooner or later everything will belong to him. The foreign envoys are drenched in cold sweat from this spectacle. One of them calmly asks Yi Jai, "Can I help the poor monks with something?" A Shaolin follower with a forced smile says, "You both spoke about true Buddhism, but no one has truly appreciated it." The second foreigner agrees with him and says that the world has changed. People do not believe that his Zen sect is genuine. They have been standing here for 2 hours and have not received a single donation coin. And Yi Jai smiles again up to his ears, points to himself with a finger and offers them cooperation. He will arrange a show for them and they will dress him up and the prophet guys will be split in half. The friends whisper among themselves. They were afraid that they had come with claims and that they were breaking the rules, but they were offered cooperation, so they have to agree. They are poor anyway. The fat one clarifies the details of the deal with the abbot, "So just stand aside and for that we get half the profit, right?" Yi Jai confirms, but it may also turn out that he will not get any coins. Shaolin follower takes the plate from the guys. The monk suddenly shouted, "Dear guests, if you want to listen to stories, come all here." Passers-by immediately turned around. The daughter of one woman, hearing this, immediately pulled her mother to listen to him. Onlookers think that monks are strange, they say. Instead of preaching scriptures, they tell stories. The guy was curious whether they had heard the story about the monk who studied without holy scriptures. He is an amazing person. He was born very handsome and talented, and even His Majesty the Emperor called him his brother. He rode a sacred horse, wore expensive robes, ate and drank from golden dishes, but the monk considered money, fame, and property to be dirt, so he wanted to go west to study the sacred scriptures. A girl from the crowd curiously asks what happened next with this monk. The boy says that this person became the most famous Taoist monk Tang Xuan Yin, and people eagerly reach out. They are so interested in listening that they started asking for more and more. The monk began to tell that when the world was created and the yin and yang courts started, the world was divided into 4 parts: Dong Shenzhou, Blue Heju, Nanshan Buchu, and Beiju Leju. Their story began with a monkey from Dong Shenzhou. The girl felt sorry for this sage. From the story, she does not understand why he had been oppressed for 500 years. The monk continued his story. The Tathagata renounced the Jade Emperor and all the gods, left the heavenly gates with 2 servants. Although everyone sympathized with him, no one could help, so he recited a mantra and summoned the mountain of 5 elements. Yijai finished his story and says that now he has a new story. One woman was outraged and thinks that he is making up stories since his stories never end. And the young man says, at first they came for alms, but now it is too late and they cannot just return to the temple empty-handed. Monk folds his hands and asks to be given money. Here the same bowl overflowed with coins. The foreign monks were shocked. A Shaolin follower says that Amitabha will be with them because they are generous people. He invites them to visit his temple in the morning. Early in the morning, poor monks and nuns will be waiting for their arrival. People leave smiling and Yijai shouts after them, "Remember, early in the morning you can find me in the Shaolin temple." The abbot hugs his new friends and offers to divide the money and each go their own way. Brothers from foreign temples think that Yijai is the one. Hafsti's name is Hoi Zhen, his younger brother is Hoi Min. They lost their temple and are now forced to wander the world, begging to be accepted into the Shaolin temple. The boy says that their temple does not accept foreigners, but he believes, if a monk is not greedy and can pass their test, then he is worthy. The boys noticed as soon as he arrived, the abbot immediately began to apologize to him. They had no idea since he was dressed like a beggar. The monk suggests first dividing the money, then continuing the conversation about other matters. The friends say that they did not participate in earning the money, so the young man should take it all for himself. And Yijai, they say, cannot take it all for himself, began hiding coins in his sleeve. They think that the master is very talented and in the future will be able to promote his dharma, so both want to join his temple. Even if money is lacking, they still ask the abbot to accept them. The monk understands, for Shaolin to prosper, it is necessary not only to restore the temple but also to recruit students so that it becomes more popular. The boy says that at first glance he immediately understood, these boys are worthy of entering his temple. However, they should not think that entering the temple will be too easy, otherwise they will not perceive him as a true abbot. Seeing their desire, he offers them to first join the Shaolin sect. He will watch over them and their behavior and then decide whether to accept them or not. The boy created fictitious sects to pressure people and force them to work hard for an imaginary sect. The boys say that the abbot is merciful and they will never let him down. Night fell, the boys had already started climbing Mount Shayashi. Min began to doubt had they joined the Shaolin temple too quickly, and Zhen solemnly replied, no. Zhen has a premonition that if he follows Yijai, he will always have plenty of food. The abbot asks them to come in and get to know the new brothers. The young man introduces the boys to each other, and they bow, greet, get acquainted. Jing is happy that he now has a younger brother, while Hong is worried and wonders what kind of students they will be. The senior comrade stretches and orders them to go to sleep in Jing's room. He suggests resting first, tomorrow they will have work up to their ears. Lying in bed, the monk thinks that the Shaolin building is too cramped. He fears that the small temple cannot accommodate many people. He will try to expand it, but for that money is needed. Yijai began to have bad dreams. Min says there is no food left in the temple, and Zhen insists that all their money has run out. The abbot jumped up and saw a silhouette in front of him. He shouts that he has no money. And it turned out to be Jing. He points with his finger to the side and says that outside there are plenty of people who want to see Yijai. In the morning, people from the city came to listen to his stories and cannot wait for the continuation. The monk approaches them with folded palms and says that they have not changed at all overnight. The Shaolin follower says that today he was going to bow and offer incense to Buddha, but he can tell them the journey to the west in his free time, and the people ask that the other 4 monks do all the work for him. Zhen leads the others and says that they will go to the foot of the mountain to get to work. Yijai is glad that his newly made disciple helped him out. Now there is only 1 monk left in the temple, and during the Buddha ceremony the incense often needs to be replaced, so he will not be able to tell stories. The people are dissatisfied because they came so early and therefore ask the abbot to come up with something. The boy says that they can buy some incense and then take turns holding it so that Buddha not only sees them but also blesses them with peace. One girl from the crowd says that she will buy 2 sticks and asks to start the ceremony. The monk says that all you need to do is toss 3 copper coins and light the stick. He does not understand why the incense smells like oil. Yijai says that there is oil in the incense so that more energy comes from the flame. The more the incense burns, the more blessings from Buddha his followers will receive. The young man says that the incense cannot be extinguished. That would be disrespect to Buddha. If it stops burning, the monk will have to stop the stories for today. The abbot bought the sticks wholesale, so he earns 2 coins from each. Therefore, he can earn 40 coins per hour, and if he tells stories for 5 hours, he can get 2 silver coins, so he got to work. The man from the crowd listening to his stories strokes his chin and twists a strained smile, looks suspicious. And Yijai says that it is already getting dark and that's all for today, and if anyone wants more stories, let them come tomorrow. Monk sees everyone has left, but one listener remains. The man is called Kyan Dalu. He came here to meet the abbot. The young man sees this man is too smart and clever, so probably an important big shot, and Kyan thinks the monk is too straightforward. The old man offers him a business. He wants to record Yijai's stories to later sell books to people from other cities. The trader thinks this is incredibly profitable, and since the monk has not seen the world, he will be easy to deceive. The abbot thinks about how to trick Kyan Dalu. The young man immediately asks, "How much money will I get?" The man shows that 20 silver coins is a good price for the book. Yijai agreed, deal, only 200,000 coins, that's a breath of fresh air. Kyan Dalu is shocked by the price, says he agrees only to 22. The monk says the reader conducts business not for the benefit of faith, so he may leave. The merchant hesitates. First he names the price 30 coins and then 100. And the abbot says that he speaks with the reader as with a friend, but he speaks to him as with a fool. The man falls to his feet and does not understand what kind of business this is, where the price is set as one pleases. Kyan Dalu breaks out in sweat from excitement and thinks that the monk is a speculator who will take all his money. The man worries. The abbot insisted on a full analysis of the story and charges him 50 coins per episode. And this means that a story with 100 episodes will cost 5,000 silver. Fortunately, he was allowed to pay in installments. First he pays for the first 30 episodes, then the next 30, and so on. Jai asks his partner if he wants to climb together with him to the mountain of the Shaolin Temple Yuhan. The man feels another pit awaits him ahead, so he says that he has matters to attend to and will go first. The monk says that he wants to accompany the connoisseur, but at the same time to arrange a tour of the Shaolin Temple. The merchant hesitatingly agreed. The abbot asks Kyan what he thinks about the future of the Shaolin Temple. The listener says that the mountainous Yuhan region where the Shaolin Temple is located is very large, it is easy to defend and hard to attack, and it is also known for figures like Zhang Fan, so he assumes that the temple has a great future. Yijai is surprised that the fan knows Shaolin philosophy. Kyan says that Shaolin preaches compassion and salvation for all beings. This is welcomed among the people. But now it is not so popular, so it is better for the temple to gain a name in the world to be well known. The abbot thanks him for the opinion and says that their views coincide because he also believes Shaolin will soon prosper. Standing on the edge of the abyss, the monk shows where he wants to build the mountain gates as well as a wall, lay the ground with bricks, and restore the old road up the mountain for everyone, but unfortunately he has no money for this now. The man is glad that Yijai remains a monk, otherwise he would have nowhere to stay in the city of Lu. Therefore, the monk wants to make another deal with the fan, referring to the future of Shaolin. He seeks to borrow money. The entrepreneur says that he looks optimistically at the future of Shaolin, but if the abbot's monastery is established and it does not bring money, it will be a great loss for him. Yijai began to tell a story. The Han dynasty rose in rebellion because the ancestor beheaded the white snake and ruled the world. Later, Guan Zhongxing was handed over to Emperor Xian, and the dynasty split into 3 kingdoms. The young man asks the fan what he thinks about this story, and the man says this story should be sold to him. Kyan Dalu says that he will invest in this matter without problems. The boy says that this is the right decision, and he continues to count 5,000 coins for the Shaolin Temple. Now there is enough money, but this is a big project that must be completed in 3 to 5 months. He hopes that Feiyin can bring many workers and materials by tomorrow. Suddenly, right before his face, a notification popped up: Dragon Boat Festival, +1 lucky ticket. Abbott realized that the system also runs promotions every New Year's holiday. The boy got a super rare item for the second time, and it seems luck is on his side today. He received a fish gong and thinks it is no different from an ordinary wooden one. But he accidentally struck it, and it was already on a warm beach, not in a temple high in the mountains. The young man realized that this treasure calms people's thoughts and allows them to forget their problems. When the time comes, he will tap the fish gong next to someone who is upset, stunned, or dissatisfied with their life. Maybe they can sort out their problems and turn to Buddhism. Then his temple will rise from its knees. Now Jai opened the Lotus Sutra, and it is an enormous amount of knowledge, so it is incredibly attractive. In order to build 10,000 Buddha pagodas, also a good thing. He remembers that in ancient times people especially loved to believe in miracles. If he invents something real and hires someone to retell the story, it will attract even more believers. He regrets that he never received any new martial arts techniques, but still these 3 things are useful for the Shaolin Temple. Jai had already woken up and gone out for exercise when suddenly visitors called him. The man brought all the people with him, and they brought money. Jai takes the money and asks, "Is this the amount they agreed on yesterday, right?" Hien Delu coughs and says that there are 1,000 silver ingots and 5,900 silver notes here. The monk holds the bag in his hands and says that this is the first money for the construction of the Shaolin Temple. The abbot of the temple unrolls the scroll and suggests to his friends to start the construction. The abbot tells them the construction plan. From here to here we have to build a wall around Mount Yuhan. This section will be completely paved with bricks. The road up will be restored and handrails will be installed on both sides along it. His business partner, hearing all this, whispers in his ear, "Sir, I am afraid this will not work." Jai does not understand what is wrong, since infrastructure is the main priority and it is better for the founder to do everything now than to redo it in the future. The man means to repair all this. About 30,000 silver are needed, so he does not understand where he will get so much money. The boy says that it is windy here and calls Kian for a cup of tea, and he shudders and asks the abbot not to worry. The entrepreneur wants to be honest and says that his bank can be called the largest branch and the maximum loan amount cannot exceed 10,000 taels, but the monk's construction plan has changed and he cannot do anything about it. The abbot understood the old man's authority is not enough because if he manages the branch, there must be a main office. The boy is interested in where it is located. Kian says that the main office is in Jinglan and his branch is in the city district. The maximum amount the branch can give is 50,000, but he believes the temple will be built for 30 or 40,000. The boy asks if he, being a poor monk, can earn money there. The man says that this is by no means a problem, but fears that it will not be easy. The branch manager in the district is a man named Zhao. He has a contradictory nature. He easily finds common ground with people and even enjoys it, but only when those who come cannot play their cards right. The abbot is interested in what kind of man might appeal to Master Zhao. For a writer who constantly suffered defeats and had an underrated talent, it is quite normal to have an eccentric character. Kian says that Zhao loves talented people. There was one man who wrote a 7-character quatrain, so the owner applauded standing and immediately gave him 50,000 taels. The monk thinks this is not difficult and asks to tell the man, "The poor monk will meet you tomorrow." The branch employee does not understand what talents a monk could have. It never occurred to him that Jai would insist on a meeting. Kian says that tomorrow he will be at the foot of the mountain and they can go to the branch together. Next day they enter the shop and the man asks Xiao Hong if he can see Mr. Zhao. The boy nods and says he will call him now, but suddenly his gaze fixes on something. He noticed the abbot. The abbot points at him with his finger and says, "You are the storyteller monk." Jai bows. The monk did not expect to see a little fan here. Xiao Hang says that he came to the Shaolin Temple 2 days ago to listen to his stories. Kian dilutes his merriment and says that they need to see the master as soon as possible. The boy asks the monk not to leave. He wants to hear the end of the story about the monkey. Jai considers him a very cute little boy. Xiao sadly says that the owner Zhao cannot see the abbot now. He asks to wait here. Sipping tea, the boy sees the fan's emotions are not at all what they were when he came, and it seems the master deliberately asked to wait. The monk asks the boy's name and says that he can finish the story while Zhao is waiting. The boy likes this idea. His name is Chuang Feihung. He politely asks the abbot if he is not hungry, and Chuang immediately offers him several kinds of cakes. Jai thinks that the Shaolin Temple can consider recruiting secular students with powerful martial arts like Chuang Feihung. The boy inquires about the monk's story. He is sure Suk Wukong did not rot under the mountain for 500 years even if he did raise a rebellion. Kian tells Chuang not to talk nonsense. Tathagata Buddha is the head of 10,000 Buddhas and the person in front of him is the abbot of the temple. Monk asks his fan, has he ever seen a statue of Buddha? Xiao Hong often sees the statue of Buddha. She has a round head, a big belly, and she is always smiling. Jai says that Buddha also knew he was very fat, so he wanted to lose weight. Hearing these words, Kyan Delu even spat out his tea. Lose weight? Xiao Hong asked Buddha with both surprise and curiosity whether he had lost weight. Buddha wanted to lose weight, so he ate vegetarian food every day. He even invented a special exercise for losing weight and did it every day, yet he still did not lose weight. Buddha tried many methods, but all in vain, and when he found out that Suk Wukong ate everything and looked better than him, he became jealous. In a fit of rage, he began to envy him and imprisoned him for 500 years under the mountain of the 5 elements. The fan of his stories laughed so hard that he grabbed his belly. The man sees the abbot is really not ordinary. Being the overseer of the temple, he jokes about Buddha and does not hold on to worldly concepts. While the stories were going on, time passed too quickly. It was already evening outside. The boy invites the abbot and the seller Kyan to join the banquet for guests. The branch employee understands that this is a sign of disrespect to the monks, because Zhao kept them here all day waiting. Kyan was nervous but still wanted to explain himself to his partner. Yijai smiles and thinks if they were invited, it means they correspond to the branch owner. He asks Xiao Hong to escort them. The boy politely escorts the abbot to Zhao, and the monk notices 3 men from afar. The branch seller tells his boss that the Shaolin abbot and Kyan have arrived. Zhao introduced the elder, the pride of their district, Dingfeng, hero Chen Dingchen. Chen is a celebrity in his district. He is skilled in martial arts and can incredibly pierce holes with a complex fan. Once he killed 4 major villains outside the city to secure the area. The warrior hiding behind the fan says there is nothing special about this. Kyan knows the truth. In reality, they were ordinary petty gangsters, and the monk asks for forgiveness for his disrespect. Next, he introduces the overseer of the Fawang Temple on Mount Shaoxi, Master Li Xuan. He is the younger brother of Master Likong. The temple guardian practices Buddhism and martial arts. Zhao first introduces Kyan, and when it comes to Yijai, he cannot recall which temple the monk was from. The young man says he is the abbot of the Shaolin Temple and thinks that seller Zhao is hostile. Li Xuan knows this temple because it also stands on Mount Shaoxi right at the summit. The place is very good, but the sect has existed for a long time and its reputation is small. Moreover, the population of Shaolin has disappeared, so their skills have vanished too. The overseer of the Fawang Temple believes that Yijai should focus only on martial arts and Buddhism, and that he is weak in Taoism. The abbot disagrees with what Master Li said, although his sect does not have many disciples, but they are all connected by hearts, and recently some monks have started joining the temple. The young man expresses his point of view. He believes that his sect is not inferior to any other in either Buddhism or martial arts, and that sooner or later Shaolin martial arts will become known worldwide. Li Xuan says that the abbot's demands are too high. He does not understand how the young man dares to say that Shaolin martial arts will become known worldwide. His mentor, Brother Likong, is very strong in martial arts, but even he does not dare to say such a thing. Yijai says that 3 years will be enough for Shaolin to become known to everyone. Li Xuan freezes in stupor after such statements. The overseer of the Fawang Temple does not like the tone of the youth, so he suggests they fight. The monk calmly replies, "This is the house of the seller Zhao. As guests, we must respect his rules." Then the overseer says, "They will start fighting as soon as they leave the banquet." The overseer of the Favangu Temple came here to borrow money, so he tried not to cause trouble, but after this, he is not going to let Yijai go just like that. The monk says their dispute will be postponed for some time, but the abbot just declared, in his school, Buddhism and martial arts are not inferior to others. If seller Zhao is a scholar, let him compare Kung Fu by the books. The young man fell into thought. Li Xuan mockingly says that the Shaolin follower is afraid and wants him to apologize. Kyan wanted to say something to the abbot, but the boy interrupts him and says that it will be better this way. But if they talk about Buddhism, the seller Zhao is unlikely to be very interested. Therefore, Yijai suggests comparing poetry. Hearing this, the old man was quite surprised. The branch owner claps his hands and says that today it would be wonderful for him to hear their beautiful poetry. Li Xuan says that it is good, but one should not forget about the prize. It must be worthy, otherwise the poems will not be so pleasant. Hero Chen asks the master what prize he wants. The monk says that the prize should be exactly what they really need. He offers the shopkeeper Zhao 30,000 taels of silver as soon as possible, the very same amount he mentioned earlier. The branch owner, having knocked over a glass of drink, says that if the poem fits, giving this money is not a problem. Chen Dancheng puts forward his candidacy for the position of judge because he has overheard so many poems from the street. Yijai believes that these 3 people have already discussed the credit issue and are now just pretending. Zhao asks the abbot what he thinks about this. The monk says that he will have to ask for 50,000 taels of silver. Li Xuan looked disapprovingly at the young man upon hearing the amount. The branch owner says it will depend only on the monk's talent for this. He asks what await those who lose. Ben says that the loser will face a penalty, a drunk bottle of wine. Zhao says that this would violate the vows of both monks. The provincial hero asks Li Xuan what he thinks about this. The master replies, if Yijai loses, he will punish himself with a bottle of wine. Others, with a sly smile on their face, ask the abbot of Shaolin what he thinks about it. Haiyan Delu expresses anger. The abbot is humiliated, even though by status he is still their guest. The boy wants to arrange everything so that Li Xuan breaks his commandments, and if he loses, he is not afraid of such punishment. And Jai cannot lag behind the courage of the monk. Wine and meat pass through his stomach, and Buddha is in his heart. If he loses, Buddha will understand this abbot. Zhao considers the boy very interesting. His speech lifted him so much that even if he eats meat or drinks alcohol, it will only add to his good reputation. The man put the glass on the table and suggested officially starting. Girls gather for the event and peek from around the corner, praising the beauty of the Shaolin monk. Li Xuan suggests composing poems related to Buddhism since they are monks, and Jai says that is exactly what should be done. The man places himself above the boy and does not consider him, because he prepared several Buddhist poems in advance. The abbot of the Fowing Temple began reading his poems first. After listening, Chen enthusiastically clapped his hands, declaring how picturesque and sensual his poems were. The monk calls the abbot in Jai while Zhao thinks to himself, these poems are not bad but far from the best. The young man, using the system, searches for poems in his poetic library. A Shaolin disciple says that he will now show his skills. He says that the moonlight today is exceptionally beautiful, and Haiyan agrees and adds, this evening, combined with wine and poetry, is one of the greatest pleasures in life. And Li Xuan is already asking the abbot not to delay and to demonstrate his skills. And Jai says that Master Li Xuan cultivates the mind, and his impatience contradicts Buddhist teachings and unsettles the state of mind. The master thinks that the young man is simply trying to change the subject. Suddenly, the Shaolin disciple broke the long silence and began to recite his poems. Everyone present immediately froze in anticipation of the story. Hearing the lines of the poem, Zhao seemed to be transported into their magical world. The branch owner feels an amazing sensation of the spring wind. The man tells the abbot that his great aspirations and ambitions have become a lesson for him, and if he can understand this world, he will make a name for himself without any effort. The monk thanks him for the warm words and tells about his construction plan. He came here for help to the seller Zhao. The shopkeeper folds his hands and admiringly marvels at the abbot's righteousness. Li Xuan, sweating coldly, does not understand whose poetic style the man has chosen. Haiyan Delu tells the master that he cannot be compared to Yijai. Hero Chen draws a parallel and says that stubborn stones cannot be compared to golden jade. The overseer of the Fowing Temple shouts and pressures Zhao to get an answer. He replies that the abbot recited a wonderful poem which he hears for the first time, so there is no point in comparing them. The embittered monk realizes that he will not be lent anything, so he will go elsewhere. Confused, Zhao wants to say something to him as he leaves. But Li Xuan, departing, says that Yi Jai can build his Shaolin temple and spend as much money as needed, but he will not succeed. And the young man confidently replies, "You don't need to worry about that, I will do everything right." And finally, after signing the contract, Shaolin received 50,000 taels and the temple construction officially started. Everyone in the sect got to work, even the lazy Yi Kong worked without rest. Also, a new disciple appeared in the temple, Huang Feihang. The abbot is glad that Shaolin has had its first successes. Jai continued to earn by telling stories, narrating another tale. When suddenly ugly bandits burst into the temple, one of them, threatening treacherously, says, "Lord Niu is here, run and get out of here." Their boss sits on a stool and, placing the sword, breaks a brick. The abbot got angry because he bought these bricks with borrowed money. The bandit says that everyone who does business in the district pays him tribute. He asks to invite voluntarily, and they will also have to pay extra after all. He came personally. Juan tells his teacher that this is a simple martial arts instructor. This guy is nothing, and the people around him are his students. They are all locals. Yijai asks the student how many of these people he had to meet. Feihang replies that with few, but except for Niu there are no opponents here. Now there are many, so he can handle 3, at most 5. Niu's servant aggressively orders him to bring out the money, and then his master will forgive the monk's past mistakes. Yijai advises them to do good instead of evil, because what a person sows that he will reap, and what they did today in the temple may bring them suffering in future reincarnations. The abbot asks them to take the knife, repent before Buddha, and leave immediately to avoid facing retribution. The young man realizes he cannot pay the protection fee because he is currently busy building the temple. The bandit points the sword directly at Yijai and asks whether he will pay the money or not. Yijai asks what will happen if he does not pay. And Kong is scared. He does not understand why they cannot show even a little compassion. After all, they are simple monks. Huang says that such a person always looks for an easy way to make money, and if you give in once, he will come back again and ask for even more. Yu sees that they are not going to pay and attacks the abbot. He intends to demolish their unfinished temple. The abbot does not understand how they dare to threaten him. Monks, so what? That does not mean they will not fight. Guys together deal with the bandits. Their leader decides to attack Yijai, and he does not understand why the strongest hit him specifically. The young man thinks since Niu wants to cut off his head, he will show his technique. The bandit sees if he does not stop the blow, he will kill this bald monk. All the disciples from the temple made noise and started shouting. They are pained for their comrade. Jai struck the head. Niu's sword flew out of his hand. The guys had to catch their boss. He was also thrown back as if he hit not his head, but a solid stone. The abbot exhaled after the block strike. The temple abbot repeats to him, "Put down the knife and stand before Buddha right now, otherwise I will have to act." Trembling with tears in his eyes, Niu broke free and shouted, "Monster." And Jai asks with a stern look, will they clean up themselves or do they need help? Guys say they will go themselves and nothing needs to be done. Fans and comrades began to rejoice. Their master solved all the problems. They are sure the Shaolin temple is truly amazing. Huang asks the teacher to be more careful because Niu still has the support of Chen Jin. It's better not to get involved with him. Jai says that in any case it does not matter who supports him because the monk has the support of Buddha. Today is the 25th. A month has passed since the boy ended up here, so as soon as midnight strikes, he will be able to play the lottery. This lottery will determine whether he can cope with the gaps in the future related to this group. The system asks the monk if he wants to use the lottery draw right now, and Jai confidently answers yes. The abbot says that this time luck is extremely important. The Shaolin temple has become popular and there will be more and more like Niu, so he needs to acquire high-quality martial arts techniques. After more than 20 days of cultivation, his ability to accept qi into his body became significantly stronger. If he can combine this with high technique, what happened today will not happen again. Jai mastered the lion's roar technique. It is the iconic Shaolin martial art. The young man decides to use it, but it is night now. Everyone is sleeping, so he goes to the back hill. Lion's roar is one of the 72 Shaolin tricks. After its use, the tongue explodes with thunder and the sound waves can travel tens of miles. The abbot takes a deep breath. Using new technology, he destroys a huge tree. The boy finds the lion's roar incredibly frightening, but as soon as he uses it, he falls powerless. Yijai suggests that the reason may be that his inner strength is too weak, and if he does not learn this, he will start having problems. Suddenly, a silhouette with mystical energy grabs him by the neck. From the darkness comes an evil voice. Who is this child who dares to disturb the old man? In suffocation and with bulging eyes, the young man spins thoughts in his head. What kind of master is behind the mountains in the Shaolin temple? Yijai, with his last strength, unleashes his new technique against the unknown old man. The monk understands if this man really wanted to kill him, he would have done it long ago, but he let him go. The abbot assumes the stranger cannot leave here for any reason, so the only option left is to intimidate. In any case, it is dangerous, and as the head of Shaolin, he must find a way to remove him from here. According to the plan, the Shaolin temple can be divided into 4 parts. The first will have 10 halls of reincarnation, the main hall, and the rest of the Buddhist halls. And the rest of the rooms will be mainly intended for tourists and pilgrims. The third area will be the inner Shaolin temple. It includes other halls, dormitories, and a martial arts field. As for the fourth area, he must rely on the manifestation of Buddha. The construction token breaks and qi energy emerges from the monk's hand. The entire tower flared with yellow energy. And Jai sees all the power given to the Son of Heaven. Now he understands. That man from the mountain cannot compare to him. Only on the first floor 1,500 large and small statues of Buddha. The second floor is similar to the first, but the central statue of Buddha has become a bodhisattva. The young man looks in awe. After all, there are still 8 more floors where more than 10,000 statues stand. This tower was built on the ground overnight. Such a miracle will definitely increase the number of believers in the Shaolin temple, and with a strong base it will be much easier to recruit students. Yijai is one step closer to completing the task and to his freedom. Jing gets up sleepy and tells his comrades to wake up. As always, in the morning people crowd into the temple to listen to the abbot's stories. Fans noticed the tower and decided that Buddha himself appeared here. People immediately fell to their knees and began to beg Buddha for blessings for themselves and for their relatives. Monk folds his hands and greets the boys. Young man jumps out from the highest floor of the tower. People look at his fall with horror in their eyes. Using the iron head technique, he breaks the ground with it. Yijai says that recently Buddha visited him in a dream and said he was touched by the sincerity of the Shaolin temple, so for this he will perform a miracle. The abbot says that this 10,000 steps tower can bless only 10,000 families, so if they truly believe in Buddha, they will be able to visit this tower. While others can only watch and burn their incense outside the tower. The monk understands if too many people enter the tower at once, it may collapse, and also this is a good way to earn money. A girl from the crowd asks the abbot to tell how one can please Buddha. And Yijai says that a small statue costs 5 taels and a medium Buddha statue 12. To get access to all rooms, one must pay 100 taels of silver. A boy whispers to his uncle from the crowd, "Yesterday in Shaolin, scoundrels came to collect tribute, but the abbot drove them away and said that Buddha would appear soon, and today the tower grew overnight." The uncle believes that this small temple should be grateful to Buddha and asks his informant if he has checked this abbot. The boy replied that Yijai has been in the temple since childhood. When his master died, the power passed to him. But regarding martial arts, the informant does not know the Shaolin temple hides everything related to this. The uncle asks again to stir up conflict between Yijai and Niu to find out all the monk's capabilities. The uncle asks his subordinate to secretly assign someone to guard the abbot if he can really talk to Buddha. The next visitor to the temple gives Buddha 5 taels of silver so that he may bless his family with peace and tranquility. Yijai tells him that if the reader is sincere, Buddha will hear him. But in the crowd, a monk notices the disguised Niu. This guy is probably waiting for a chance to take revenge. Although the abbot can scare off these scoundrels with his lion's roar, since there are so many residents here, he will have to find another way to get rid of them. The young man says that the Shaolin temple is blessed by Buddha and will continue to show miracles in the future. Yijai says that there are people who seek to destroy Shaolin to make Buddha hate this place. By doing so, they are not only enemies of Shaolin, they are enemies of all. The abbot asks the people if such behavior can be tolerated. And all at once they shouted, "No, protect the Shaolin temple." The monk pointed at Niu and his gang in the crowd and said, "Buddha is merciful, but they should teach the thieves a lesson." Pouring out cold sweat, the gang leader did not expect this. A man from the crowd grabs a brick and rushes at the bandit. Guys grab tools to deal with the thieves. Yijai sees that the mass path is the right decision. It is useful for the future recruitment of disciples and allows hiding his power. That mysterious man from the crowd approaches the abbot of Shaolin and wants to get acquainted. The monk notices the person's aura is unusual and he is not so simple. Above Jianghu, Haoshan masters and innate masters are clearly divided. Haoshan is divided into early, middle, late stages and the great completion of Haoshan. The early stage is the cultivation of the discipline of internal energy and the sensation of qi. Middle Haoshan belongs to the cultivation of internal energy with a certain level of achievement. At this time, attacks, wherever and by whatever part of the body they strike, supported by internal energy, can cause great damage. At later stages, internal energy can be studied outside the body, so people are able to clearly feel it. For example, when internal energy pours into the eyes, people dare not look at them. The perfection of Haoshan means that the achievement of internal energy has reached the realm of small success, and at this time, internal energy can be released. The young man notices that this person's gaze is like a torch, so at least a late master he is, but whether he is an enemy or a friend is unclear. And Jai believes that the unknown man wants to become a monk or a Buddhist since he invited him to talk indoors. The man says he came here without an invitation to talk with the abbot. The abbot of Shaolin regrets that he is forced to welcome this guest here. The stranger says that he is a simple commoner with a small fortune, so he is not worthy of the words honored guest. The monk thinks if the guest came to Shaolin to be found, then he is clearly not ordinary. The guest asks the abbot what he sees. And Yijai guessed that the man was from the army. After these words, his face immediately changed. Dark visible qi energy emanates from him. The disciple rushes at this deadly aura and does not understand what exactly is happening. The man says that if he were not sure that he had never seen the abbot before, he would have doubted his identity. The monk understands the man could not see him, so he just accidentally revealed it. The stranger says that since the abbot really sees who he is, there is no point in hiding he is from the army. The man says that this time he really came to the abbot on business just as he should. The father of one of his friends believed obsessively in Buddhism all his life and wanted something from the nature of the Buddha in his life. Because of this, the old man traveled around the world and spent a lot of money, but he could not get what he wanted for many years. A few days ago, the soldier overheard that a Buddha miracle appeared in the Shaolin temple. Since he was officially here on business, he came to visit the abbot hoping to receive something from the Buddha's grace. Yijai says that it is not that difficult, but if the man believes in the Buddha, he must come personally to their temple to show sincerity. The young man does not want to deal with the government, especially the military. The monk understands if he does not agree to the request, the guest will not back down, so it is better to first find common ground. The warrior has a request. He asks the abbot of the temple to allow him to see something of the nature of Buddha, so that later he can have an idea of what to expect. Yijai strikes the instrument and asks the man to listen to the sound and calm his mind. The guest immediately finds himself in an oasis among beautiful women. He asks the abbot in surprise, "Is this the power of Buddha's nature?" The soldier says that if one day he leaves his official duties, he will come to Shaolin and stay with Buddha for a long time. The monk, holding a string of beads in his hand, says that he was personally enlightened, so he gives it as a souvenir. Zhang Yuansheng thanks the abbot for this gift. The young man asks to return and begs the old man to come to Shaolin. The man gave his name, but the abbot did not make a single move. He remained calm. It is clear that he is truly an extraordinary person. Zhang Yuansheng, Yijai thought in surprise. It seems to him that he has heard this name somewhere before. The monk says if the warrior wants to earn the respect of officials, he will still have to refine his own strength and the strength of Shaolin. Otherwise, when he encounters an unreasonable person, all his efforts will be in vain. This guy has been here for more than a month and has participated in 3 lotteries, in April, at the festival, and in the May lottery. There is still a month until the next draw, so he needs to diligently train his skills during this time to avoid ending up in a situation like yesterday. Yijai noticed that Shaolin had gained some popularity, and they expect even more people to come over time. The young man understands they could take advantage of such an opportunity to attract students. Frenzy broke out near the temple. Everyone was wildly interested in the announcement about enrollment. The young girl asks with enthusiasm, "Who can try, can I?" Some old man, blind and sick, says that he is not even 30 yet and that he is interested in his chances. The boy behind the old man looks at him in shock. The crowd listens to the admission rules. Men aged from 10 to 25 years can have a family or not, must be healthy and have a strong character. The young man in the crowd is stunned. He did not know that Shaolin teaches martial arts. A man enthusiastically replies, "Of course, did you see what the master did last time?" Everyone was interested in joining Shaolin. They consider Shaolin a precious place blessed by Buddha, and being a student of this temple is a pride for their ancestors. Registration began, and at the reception table, the commissioner, angry at the little girl, sends her home. The second test for the candidates is physical training. Yijai gives them a challenge to hold huge logs. The third test shows the endurance and patience of the candidates. The monk, after such a hard day, is completely exhausted. At the beginning, about 100 people came, but after 3 tests, only 3 or 4 remained. But in the end, no one was left. The Shaolin follower was already ready to use various tricks to test the will of the young people. But his thoughts were suddenly cut off by the temple doors, which abruptly opened. The boys are completely confused. It is already late evening and the temple is not open. The white snow-like huge tiger arrived at Shaolin. Jai immediately gave the order to close the doors and not let the beast in. The young man understands the tiger is too big, it cannot be handled, given his internal energy. But suddenly the beast retreated and stopped persistently pressing on the entrance doors. But it did not have time to move away, and Jai sees a huge hand reaching into the narrow gap. The giant appears before the monk with the same tiger on his shoulder. The young man understands it is better to deal with him than with the predator and asks the guest for what purpose he came. From behind, someone shouts, "Lady, the temple doors are still open, we came on time." A girl in a luxurious outfit and incredible beauty entered the temple. The servant, hugging the tiger, orders the monk to step back. Boys are completely bewildered. What the hell is going on here? The annoying girl treats the monks carelessly and says that their lady is here to worship Buddha. And the young man tells them that the temple is already closing and calls to come tomorrow morning earlier to offer incense. The lady's maid got angry and says that if the monk keeps babbling, he will feel the fangs of their tiger. The mistress restrains Zio Kui and says that her words are increasingly leading astray. The lady asks if among them is Master Abbot of the 5. And Jai reports to the lady that he is the abbot of this temple. The boy felt, just her voice already makes him happy, and it seems she is not an ordinary noble lady. The girl apologizes to the monk and says that during the day there are too many visitors here, and since she has always liked the silence and peace of this temple, she did not know when it closes. The abbot asks her not to apologize because it is not her fault, she simply did not know. Zio Kui asks to wait until the first ones enter, Iron Bull and De Huang, to make sure there is no ambush in this temple. The lady asks her servant not to be so rude. The mistress begins to apologize, and the abbot's companion considers this an unacceptable rudeness for Shaolin. Jai asks them to leave since they believe the temple is a place where evil intent can be hidden. The girl considers the young abbot brave if he dared to stop the Iron Bull and De Huang. The giant gets angry and orders his tiger to show the monk what it is capable of. The head of their clan asks the Iron Bull to stop. The tiger lets out a monstrous roar right above the abbot's head. The abbot pushes the beast back and changes his expression. After all, this temple has the dignity of Shaolin. De Huang was shocked by the energy that came from the monk's strike. The young lady cannot believe that the young monk is so strong. And Ajay finished the demonstration and exhaled deeply, while his comrades behind were no less shocked by his abilities. Iron Bull calls the boy a snot-nosed kid and chases after him. The girl asks the subordinate to stop. The big guy irritably and does not understand what the boss wants. The lady apologizes to the abbot of the temple and hopes to be forgiven for such recklessness. Ajay insists that there is nothing terrible about this. The young man once again notes the politeness of this lady. The mistress will beg to be allowed to enter the temple again to place incense. The monk gestures to show where to go and invites her. The boy points to the statue and says that this is the first level of the goddess from which water drips. Ajay noticed in this world Buddhism does not flourish as it did in the previous one, but the popularity of the bodhisattva is still high. The abbot is surprised that the lady passed by without bowing to this god. He noticed the guest reached as far as the 8th floor and still did not find the Buddha to whom she could bow. The boy thinks that in the future she will bring them a lot of money. Finally, they reach the 9th floor to Namo Buddha Amitabha. The lady hopes that the abbot will keep her situation and what she said a secret. The girl hiding behind the scarf suddenly turns out to be extraordinarily beautiful. Ajay immediately blushes with shame. He raises the incense and prays, tears shining in her tearful eyes. The young man sees such a beauty for the first time, even models of the past world pale in comparison. The lady prays to Buddha to bless her father with a speedy recovery. The lady knows that his injuries are serious, but the man still holds himself so that no one sees his pain. The abbot, having listened to her confession, understood that she was raised only by her father. The father thought that sorrows would retreat if he began practicing martial arts, but villains overcame his mind and forced him to study the dark craft. The monk becomes curious about who this girl is since the topic of dark mastery has come up. Continuing to sob even harder, she finished listening to her confession. The lady does not want her only closest person to leave her. Having heard about the miracle of Buddha, the faithful daughter specially came here to ask for guidance. She asks Buddha to show her the way. The young man tries to calm her down, but he just can't manage it. He gathers energy within himself and prepares to use a mighty lion's roar. It really worked, and now she began to hear Ajay. The lady apologizes for losing control of herself. The monk began to talk about the 7 human sufferings, but the lady demanded details. There are ancestral sufferings related to unpleasant conditions in the mother's womb, sufferings of old age when a person grows old and weak, and sufferings of illness when the body aches and there is no rest. Likewise, there are torments from offense and hatred. The heart is filled with them, and what you desire only brings harm. The girl nods to the temple abbot but does not know what to do with this. She asks to explain to her about the last suffering. Ajay says that the last suffering is the suffering of separation. The monk says, in life there is no greater pain than the torment of love and separation when the beloved person leaves, and nothing can be done about it. The lady's eyes fill with tears again. The boy does not understand why she is crying or what he should do, because in a past life he would have simply offered his shoulder. The noble lady asks Ajay to teach him to speak with Buddha. The young man politely asks her to sit down. The monk does not understand how he can teach someone from his half-forgotten knowledge of Buddhist scriptures. Ajay, looking at his treasure, rejoices that he has it, as it helps him in troubling moments. The monk asks the girl to sit and listen as he taps to calm the mind, and maybe she can think everything over. The lady does not understand what a single melody can do. The lady melted in this sound. She believes it can cleanse the soul. Now she is less worried about her father. The girl is confident she can find a way out of this situation. The abbot asks the temple visitor how she feels. The lady noticed that this young monk has real abilities and maybe he knows some secret. She thanks him for what she saw, although she does not understand how this young man did it. The monk says the girl has overestimated his abilities and he only helped her to think through and let go of her worries. Suddenly the lady grabs his hands. The visitor says she understood everything and will not return to her father but is confident he will figure everything out, and Yijai even blushed from surprise. He feels uncomfortable. He is the abbot of the temple, so he cannot act in such a way. The girl noticed that her trick with beauty did not impress the young monk. The mistress of faith planned to give Shaolin a sum of money for incense, not much, but enough for a few people to survive 8 or 10 years. The boy immediately smiled and began to thank her. His joy was cut off by the girl's words, "But I changed my mind." Yijai got irritated and decided to ask why she decided so. The lady knows, for the abbot money and other worldly things are like drifting clouds. The monk immediately turned pale. This girl considers him a simple priest and he still has to return the money he borrowed for a time. She apologizes for bothering the abbot for so long, but now she is calm. When she came, she saw a notice on the temple door for city students, so she became curious. Does Shaolin accept female disciples? Yijai grimaces after her words. Women are not accepted in the temple, everyone knows that. The rich man's daughter says that believing girls can find lodging at the foot of the mountain, and every time the morning classes and martial arts practice begin, she comes to Shaolin. The monk explains to the girl that the Shaolin temple does not accept female disciples. It is an iron rule that cannot be broken. Hearing the abbot's voice, she wanted to stay near Buddha for a long time, but since she cannot, the lady wants the iron bull to stay in Shaolin instead of her as a disciple. Yijai is stunned. This iron bull is a huge man standing in the doorway. The young man thinks he underestimated his guest. Just as she lulled his vigilance by showing true feelings, now that he has recovered, she has outwitted the monk. At first, she said she wanted to enter Shaolin, fully knowing she would fail, but still spoke about it to make that iron bull stay in Shaolin. The abbot says that the doors of their temple are open to all beings because they all have Buddha nature. The lady servant is shocked after the news that the iron bull is staying here. The lady apologizes to the monk for her behavior. The girl thinks that the iron bull is too stupid, so they need to find someone smart and reliable near the main altar. The lady believes the iron ox may be somewhat foolish, but he is a sincere man and she is certain that he will serve Buddha. She thinks that her subordinate will be an excellent candidate and the smart one will definitely be bad. The visitor noticed that even when she showed her true face, Yijai did not betray the slightest change in mood. The monk says that he also believes in the sincerity of the iron ox's intention to serve Buddha. The lady says that the abbot of the temple can test the iron ox, but if he is unable to do so, he may allow him to leave on his own. She orders the tiger to go into the forest to arrive in time to help if Shaolin needs it. The girl is in despair because she worries about the tiger. Suddenly an idea struck her and she remembered, De Huang is better than anyone at finding things. Jai thinks that she smiles like someone bad. The servant leads the beast into the forest. The lady is curious, does the abbot want to learn the true identity of Wang Zhen? The monk replies, in the eyes of my Buddha, all beings are equal. Let the girl's status be noble, but in the eyes of a poor monk, all are equal. With a smile on her face, she agrees with him. Girls left the temple and quickly headed somewhere. The monk noticed she possesses martial arts, has power and status. She even has a tiger as a pet. And she also has a father who practices evil intent, so he considers her an unrighteous person. The young man thinks that he is a disciple of demons. The next day, Shaolin continued recruiting students, and Iron Bull was among the candidates on equal footing with everyone else. If he passes the final character test, he will be able to become a lay disciple of Shaolin. After several rounds of checks, this time as many as 12 people reached the final level of the test. The monk announces that the final test will begin in half an hour. During this time, free movement is allowed, but candidates are forbidden to leave the first level of the 10,000 Buddhas pagoda. Temple visitors' eyes were burning with enthusiasm. They eagerly discussed the student recruitment, and some simply prayed to Buddha. The monk suggests to Iron Bull to take a walk. The time has not yet come. He firmly replies to him, I will be here to protect the abbot. Jai says that he can protect himself. The man agrees that the young man has certain skills, and the lady ordered him to protect the monk, and he insists that the lion's roar will still cause significant damage. The boy began to take air into his lungs. The Iron Bull immediately got alarmed. He had heard the lion's roar before. The abbot of the temple tells him to go and take a walk. And Yijai says that since the man will work under his leadership in the Shaolin temple, he is obliged to fully obey him. The Iron Bull obediently agrees with him. One of the boys noticed a coin on the floor and decided to pick it up. A member of the Shaolin Temple observed all this. Half an hour has already passed, and Yijai asks everyone to come over for a moment. The young man officially announces the exam for the recruitment of disciples closed. The boy who picked up the coin does not understand anything. The final test has not even started yet. The abbot says that Shaolin is a Buddhist sect, and it primarily pays attention to the heart of a person. The monk laid out a total of 120 copper plates on the floor. During the break, everyone found coins either one by one or together, but everyone behaved differently. In fact, only 2 people passed the test. The Iron Bull passed the test unaware of it himself, and the poor boy passed too. And Jai says that collecting gold is a kind of charity, and they distribute it to help those in need and to do good. The abbot gave a speech about good and evil and sent everyone else Hamido think about it. Everyone was confused. Their own greed destroyed them. Monk introduces the first Shaolin disciple, Huan Feihong. Du and the Iron Bull welcome their new brother-in-arms. The young man says that the boys will become Shaolin disciples after they pay respects to the ancestors together with him. Jai asks the recruit why he is called the Boisu, and he replied that the rascal was a beggar. He always asked for food. No one gave him a name, so he was called that. The monk says that being poor and able to pick up money is not bad. The abbot gives him a new name, Sukayan, which means bright future. The boy with tears in his eyes fell to his knees and began to thank Jai. Although Jai was not acquainted with the abbot Xuan Hai, in the end the young man inherited memories of the first ring, and a deep impression was forever etched in his memory. He owed his martial arts skill to the master, but she also loved her student and wanted the monk to have at least some achievements. The abbot says that today the 3 of them entered the Shaolin temple and now represent the temple, so they must respect their master. From behind the hill, the boys began to call out to Yijai. The boys brought him new clothes from Master Kayan. This material costs a lot of money, and Shaolin has been spending a great deal of silver lately. And Jai says that it's all right, people depend on their clothes and everything must be tried. A month passed. The Shaolin disciple trained diligently and was able to improve his skills. The abbot praises Sukayan and says that he has an extraordinarily great talent in martial arts. Superior is surprised, and Yijing praises his training. The monk asks them not to be modest. If they had not worked so hard and studied so well, they would not have achieved such great success so quickly. He calls the boys to meet his guest. Just then Huimin said to the abbot in panic that a crowd of people had appeared near the gates. They wanted to see him. Yijai thought with horror that it might be someone from the Fawing temple. The young man comes out of the temple and sees before him a whole guard of soldiers lined up in a column. Turns out to be Shangyuan. He greets Yijai and asks how he is doing. Monk is glad to see the soldier in good shape. The man introduces his master to the abbot, saying that he is the only one who can communicate with Buddha. Juan does not believe that at such a young age the monk can already be great. Shangyuan tries to convince the old man that he did not travel all this way in vain, because despite his age, Yijai has real abilities. The monk does not like this whole dialogue, but since they serve in the army, he will have to listen to them. In confusion, the man says that this old gentleman is the father of Mr. Sectarian, and they came here from the residence. The abbot explains medicine heals the sick and Buddha guides the doomed. He sees Guan does not trust him. The young man does not see his fate with his Shaolin and the old man, so they need to return back. The old master asks Yijai if he knows the price for his statements. Guan says that destroying the Shaolin abbot is a trifle. Zuqiang does not understand how the temple abbot can remain calm in this situation. Yijai says that from a young age he has listened to Buddhist teachings and held onto swords, and that swords and soldiers' weapons will do him no harm. The young man would never trade the piece of Shaolin for the enlightenment of Master Guan. The boy understands this old man has status and abilities, and if he is not persuaded otherwise, he will not take Shaolin seriously. The military commander, however, considers the monk truly brave and incredible. Shangyuan asks Yijai not to be offended. The elder was joking and simply did not want to hurt. The abbot asks if this is really true. Guan says that he would not have the courage to destroy the temple. Monk scolds Suqiang for closing the gates. Men do not understand if Yijai will really leave them here. The young Shaolin disciple says that it is cold outside and brings out a blanket for the old man. Shangyuan asks Guang not to be impulsive again. The old man takes the blanket and asks to thank the abbot of the temple for his kindness. The subordinate suggests to the warlord to go downstairs and find the inn, then return to Shaolin. Guan says that he has already decided everything and there is no need to fuss. He is ready to wait as long as necessary. The master says they need to hurry back. The Buddhist sect is a pure place and people with spears and swords do not belong here. And Shangyuan reminds the elder about the order of the festival lord. The old man casts a stern look and asks, "Do you want me to drive you away, huh?" Shangyuan fell into a stupor and asked the master for only one thing: not to catch a cold. Guan sits and meditates near the temple. Zuqiang really considers the abbot a god because the old man is truly waiting in the temple. Yijai says that those who take the initiative and ask another person this does not impress him, and he even considers you a liar. And when he is ignored, he thinks that you truly have skill and you will stand up for him. The abbot sends the boy to rest. The young man begins to meditate. During this time, his martial art noticeably improved and the true qi in his body showed signs of flow. Then he is interrupted by a message. The July lottery is open and he is offered to play right now. Yijai studied the pattern of light dots in previous draws. The distance between the starting point and the prize differs significantly. In the last game, there were 14 squares between the Lion's Roar square and the grand prize. If the light dots are regular, this time the monk must choose the book, Bodhisattva's Commandments. The abbot intends to take a risk. If the decision is inaccurate, the light dots will fall to the right or left of the grand prize, and this time a meaningless item will be drawn. Yijai is ready to exchange his brother's lonely life for the correct judgment about the lottery law. Suddenly, the young man receives a message. "You have 3 chances for the lottery draw. Will you use them?" Without much thought, the temple abbot agrees he was going to get rich. After the first attempt, he receives an order to build mountain gates and 1 reed. During the prize reception, the mirror began to crack, and Jai thought that the system had broken. The horse really jumps out from there. The monk was surprised she really appeared. Now, when he goes out among people, he will look much more respectable. Life with Jai is getting better and better, and the mood too. The construction of this building can be explained by the miracle of Buddha, but this white horse is not a gift from Buddha. The boy asks the beast to come in and stops near the entrance to the pagoda of 10,000 Buddhas. According to legend, the Dharma teacher once broke a cane and threw it into the river, stepping on it to cross the Yangtze River. When the monk reaches the required level of inner strength, then he will be able to cross the river using the cane. The young man thinks it is good that not all Shaolin need to know martial arts, so in the future it will be enough to allow only monks to practice them. Jai decides to try light kung fu. But in his joy, the young man completely forgot that an old man was standing under the gate. The monk lands and asks Guan Yu, "Have you rested?" And he replies, "As soon as I heard the sound, I decided to greet the abbot." The boy understands the purpose of this old man's visit to Shaolin is to find the tools of Buddhist magic. Guan asks Yijai if he wants to order something. The abbot says that he saw the Buddha in a dream again. Hearing this, the old man became excited and began to inquire about the Buddha. Buddha entrusted the young man with a dream that he would show a miracle again and open the heavenly gates in Shaolin for him. Guan says that in his 60 years he has never seen any miracle of the Buddha, and his most cherished desire is to receive an object blessed by the Buddha. The monk approached and pretended to catch him, then asks how the Buddha's miracles can be visible to outsiders. The old man trembled and hurriedly assured he is a follower of the Buddha. Yijai says that if the old man continues like this, he will have to leave him and go on alone. The commander, seeing the boy's abilities, froze in shock because in central China there are only 5 people weaker than him. Guan rushes after him in pursuit. He wants to see the Buddha's miracle with his own eyes. The old man is shocked by the monk's skill at such a young age. The young abbot is astonishingly strong. Yijai intends to show a miracle. He sits in the lotus position and utters words that are sacred to Guan, Namo Amitabha Buddha. Yijai invoked the Buddha with his prayer. The old man rejoiced that he finally saw the miracle of Buddha. Guan cried with happiness. From this day he decided to become a monk and never again have dealings with the red world. The young man was in shock from the words the guest had just said. The military leader imploringly calls out to the abbot to accept him as a Shaolin disciple. The monk says that Guan is too old and that since the miracle of Buddha has become a reality, he should leave. Yijai wanted to let him into Shaolin from the very beginning, but he will not cherish what came easily. The old man asks not to pay attention to his age. His martial arts have already reached great perfection in Haoshan. Looking at the situation in Shaolin, he thinks the temple needs a teacher. The abbot takes this as an insult and says that he is capable of teaching. Guan praises the boy for kung fu, but the boy believes that a person of such a level should not teach some youngsters. The candidate says that his son is a minister, so if anyone from the government troubles the temple, he will deal with them. The boy warns the master, "Be careful with your words," but in fact that was his plan to establish the necessary connections. Jai understands this person is now invaluable to Shaolin. He has experience, martial skills, and no problems with loyalty. The monk says that Guan is not destined for Buddha. Since the young man does not want to accept him, the old man decides to get a knife. The abbot lets out his fierce lion's roar and asks Guan what his intentions are. The old man assures with a trembling voice that he did not mean to show disrespect to the Shaolin abbot. The master is already raising the knife directly to his throat. Yiji calls him and tries to stop him. Guan simply cuts off the beard. The boy is completely confused by what is happening. The old man thinks he has already shown his true desire when he knelt by the mountain gates, so he is sincere in his intentions. The young man, however, does not understand what is wrong with this warrior. The abbot says there is nothing to suffer. Since Guan speaks sincerely, he will accept him among his disciples. The old man considers himself wise supposedly. He arranged the monk's agreement in his own way. Breakfast in the temple begins with a prayer to Buddha. Jai introduces their new senior brother to everyone. Monks greet Chen. Junior brother assures that he will diligently learn from the recruit. Guan planned to teach them everything he knows himself. Although he entered the temple later than Hui Zhen and Hui Min, none of them received the title of first master from the abbot. Zhu Qiang is incredibly talented in martial arts, and Guan Shanyue, as a super expert, will surely surpass Yi Jin over time. After this, all his senior students will be able to teach the recruits, and thus they will build a training system. Beiheng suddenly interrupted their meal and called the temple abbot. He put down Yijai's chopsticks and asked what happened. The boy reports that something terrible happened in the Fawing temple. The miracle of Buddha also appeared in it. From the moment the miracle appeared in the Shaolin temple, followers of Buddhism from the vicinity of Mount Shaoxi constantly come to see it. And later, the temple began to recruit secular students, which raised people's enthusiasm. The flourishing of Shaolin inevitably led to the decline of the Fawing temple, so it was quite expected that Fawing created the so-called miracle ready to compete with their Shaolin. Guan considers this nonsense because he saw the miracles of Shaolin with his own eyes, and it happened for the first time in his life. Beiheng says it must be a fake. He reports that they will hold a fair at the temple on the 8th of July in honor of the false miracle. On the way here, the young man noticed that some people had already started talking about it, and the recently recruited laypeople might also have false thoughts if not for those mountain gates descending from Buddha. The old man says he was at the Fawing temple in search of the nature of Buddha, but only wasted money. If it were not a Buddhist temple, he would have demolished it. Guan asks the abbot to give the order to burn the temple to the ground, and he will watch those who dare to come to Shaolin to take revenge. Jai asks the monk not to act thoughtlessly. He has already understood his intention. The boy says that Buddha blessed Shaolin and that he knows their miracles are fake, but this is a good opportunity for them. The abbot is ready to argue with the Fawing temple. Zhu Qiang cleans up fallen leaves on the territory of Shaolin. The old man brings the abbot a letter from the monk Fawing. The boy received a letter from Lu Kong, the abbot of the Fawing temple. At 5 years old, he could recite the entire Heart Sutra, and at 9 he was initiated into San, becoming an official disciple of the temple. This man devoted his entire life to Buddhism and considers it disrespectful to call what came to the Shaolin temple a miracle of Buddha. Jai thought about what to do with Fawing, but now they turned out to be first and he will not spare them. Guan asks the abbot why Lu Kong wrote such a letter, and the young man says it is just a provocation. The old man read the letter, got angry, and briefly crumpled it in his hand. He is convinced the abbot will do them a favor if he goes there, so the monk already intends to burn their temple. The abbot tells his recruit that he has a plan for him. The boy began to tell him his strategy. Guan listened and said he would do everything perfectly so that their opening ceremony would be wonderful. 3 days later, a crowd gathered at the Fawing temple. Onlookers from the crowd curiously watch what is hidden under the red cloth, and a girl says that there is the miracle of Buddha. Jai arrives with Guan on his white horse, and the temple monk asks if they have an invitation. The boy from Fawing is surprised. The abbot of the Shaolin temple is really here, but he does not understand why the invitation is crumpled. The old man raises his voice, urges him on, and is angry that the monk is delaying the guests. But suddenly, the abbot like a feather slips off the horse and jumps onto the pillar standing before them. Jai says that this is the sacred horse of the Shaolin temple. It feeds only on the best grass, so one must be careful. Guests from Shaolin watch as the poor man is served broth in a bowl. The boy realizes that this is just a way to lure people for trust, and Guan says that this is hypocrisy. Seeing the red cloth that covered something huge, Jai understood. This time Fawing had done too much work for this. The old man suggests to the abbot to move into the shade. He Kong meets Governor Liu and says that a lot of time has passed since their meeting. The official smiles and greets him. Li Xuan sees the monk from Shaolin and bursts into anger. The abbot of the Fawing Temple asks to inform the other disciples that the opening is about to begin. The old man does not understand what happened to Li Xuan, and the man says that he would recognize Yi Jai even in ashes and that this is the persistent Shaolin Temple. Kong says that they will disgrace him today, so he asks him to calm down. Best monks of the Fawing Temple gathered near the curtain. Guan sees Li Jai from the Sangoku Temple, a monk whom Fawing specially invited to help him. Compared to Yi Kong and Li Xuan, this monk looks as if he has achieved perfection. Yi Kong says that thanks to the love of Buddha, the heavens granted the Fawing Temple a hall of merits and virtues. The temple holds an opening ceremony to invite everyone to see this miracle. The monks say that recently there have been too many rumors on Mount Shaoxi, and some minor sects claim to have received a Buddha's miracle, and this is truly absurd. Jai only smiles, holding Guan because he understands the talk is about Shaolin. People from the crowd say they saw the Shaolin miracle with their own eyes, and it cannot be a fake. Li Xuan believes that these people were sent by Yi Jai from the Shaolin Temple. The man insists that he is a liar who lives on credit. People are confused. They have come all this way just for food and do not understand how the Fawing Temple can guarantee that their miracle is real. Xuan is boiling with furious anger. Guan says to the abbot, justice is in the heart. Yi Jai says that they cannot pretend, cannot fake, and cannot live with their sins. The crowd wildly grinds through the ceremony until they saw a miracle with their own eyes. They cannot know the truth. Yi Jai suddenly cuts through all this noise with a single cough. The boy sees the inner strength of this old monk is very strong. The abbot of the Sangoku Temple in the capital met the abbot of Shaolin. Yi Jai did not expect such a bad character in the Fawing Temple. The Shaolin abbot says that Yi Jai is a respected monk, so he is ashamed that the master met with him. The walking experts from the crowd immediately recognized the great monk. They had no idea they would ever meet him. Yi Jai says that since ancient times heroes appear even in youth, he heard that the Shaolin abbot is close to Buddha and exceptionally gifted, so the experienced monk asks the young man for advice. Yi Jai is curious about what the master from the great Sangoku Temple wants. Li Xuan asks his brother to be careful because this boy has a sharp tongue. He is not so easy to deal with. And Yi Jai began to tell a story. A man came to the temple to worship Buddha and saw next to him a person who was worshipping the statue of the goddess of mercy. Looking more closely, he recognized it was the goddess of mercy herself. Monk asks the abbot of Shaolin why she worships herself. The young man says that it is important to seek Buddha, but one should not entrust their entire fate to him. First and foremost, one should rely on oneself. Yi Jai says that it is better to ask others than oneself. Yi Jai poses the next riddle. A warrior holds a live fish in his hand and asks the abbot, is it alive or dead? Guan knows this riddle. If the answer was that it was dead, the samurai would release it. If the answer was that it was alive, the samurai secretly squeezed it to death regardless of whether the answer was correct or not. The young man says that the fish was dead. Li Xuan immediately smiles slyly and declares that Yi Jai answered incorrectly. The Shaolin abbot is restrained. He guessed incorrectly, but the fish survived and that was worth it. The man says not to be clever, and Yi Jai firmly orders him to be silent. Yi Jai raises his hand and asks Li Xuan if he has a stone in his hand. Monk insists that he cannot know if he has not seen it. The young man asks him, unclenching his fist, so what we haven't seen doesn't exist. And Yi Jai suggests discussing these questions with the Shaolin abbot later, but now the opening ceremony must begin. The monks of the Fawing Temple tear the red cloth from the Buddha's miracle. And Yi Kong assures that in this hall of the great hero the true body of the Buddha is kept, and they brought all this to the temple a month ago. And Yi Jai believes that without 100,000 taels he could not have purchased such a building. The thickness of this gate is 1 foot, and no one will move it without divine power, and Guan says that this gate costs several dozen taels. And Yi Kong was set up and he almost let it slip. The elder asks to prepare incense. As soon as the gates open, people will be able to enter. Commotion arose in the crowd, and everyone was eager to see what was inside. Suddenly, the spectators' faces turned pale from what they saw. Li Xuan and Yi Jai were also in shock. The abbot of Fawing Temple does not understand why people panic so much. However, turning around, he saw before him a huge snake that opened its jaws to attack. He did not manage to do anything. The old man began to bleed. Yi Jai blames himself for what happened. Li Xuan asks his brother where he went. The monk says that from today he will close the door of death and repent before Buddha. Yi Jai, sobbing, regrets all his plans that he never managed to fulfill. Lee Xuan begins to accuse Yijai and his Shaolin sect. The young man asks the elder not to talk nonsense, saying that it was Buddha himself who sent the punishment. Yijai says, frightening the man with a lion's roar, if the statues of Buddha are destroyed, then these miracles are fake and are used to deceive people. The abbot turns around and counts his coming here a mistake. He must immediately return to Shaolin to repent to Buddha. Crowd began to applaud and see off the young monk. The events move to another temple. A mysterious person sits with a sinister expression and holds a fan. Lee Xuan reports to his master and says, the story about the fake Buddha has spread throughout the county. The stranger does not understand why the Fawing Temple still wants to fight after its collapse. The monk proposes to give all the temple's profits for 5 years just to get rid of Shaolin. After the failed ceremony, there was no longer a single incense bearer left in the Fawing Temple. Zukayan left the market and said goodbye to the old lady, who said she would give better cabbage for the abbot next time. Yikong announced the dissolution of the temple and then disappeared without a trace, so the monks had to find a new refuge. Only Lee Xuan with 5 warrior monks swore to take revenge on Shaolin. The disciple Wu Jai suddenly felt the presence of a strong man behind him and immediately froze in shock. The man is already celebrating their victory. Zukayan skillfully dodges to the side. The strong man confidently tells the boy that he is a good fighter, but he feels sorry for him. Zukayan has already become serious and is determined to defend the interests of his abbot. The fighter strikes the ground and declares that he will not only insult Yijai but also beat the boy. Shaolin disciple strikes the offender directly in the face with a jump kick. He began to bleed and lose his balance. A mysterious man from that temple stops the fighter and politely asks Zukayan if it is proper to fight on the street. The boy immediately felt all the power coming from the stranger and understood there is no chance to resist. Zukayan lies on a broken table bean, coughing up blood. The old man throws a sheet of paper, orders the boy to survive and deliver it to the Shaolin abbot. Onlookers immediately rushed in and came to the aid of the Shaolin disciple. The young man was already taken to the temple and his wounds were treated, rested calmly. Juan barely restrains his rage to avoid losing control and asks Yijai only for orders. The youth says that Chen Ding was always a smart one, but this time he dared to attack his disciple right on the street. Yijai holds a military letter in his hand. On the first day of August, Chen Ding will conduct the Dingfeng fight to challenge Shaolin. The old man does not understand how he even dares to write such a thing. The young man felt that Chen had grown close to Lee Xuan and apparently promised them something. Guan considers them despicable rats. The old man asks to enlighten the abbot about his plans. He suggests avoiding problems by calling themselves a Buddhist sect. The monk understands he can flee from the tournament, but that is not what he desires. His high goals in martial arts meant that Shaolin would sooner or later enter Jianghu anyway. The guy considers this tournament a great opportunity for his students, while the old man is still waiting for a response from his superior. After the Dharma King's temple opening ceremony, he painted the first half of the Kung Fu dragon and elephant Prajna, and along with his Kung Fu techniques, he became strong like a mid-back heaven martial master. Yijai says that with an expert like Guan as his secret weapon, Shaolin will never lose. The abbot says that if he does not go to this, many people will feel offended, and the old man replies that in this world nothing can be hidden from the superior. The letter says that Chen and Lee Xuan will gather to hold a 5-match duel in Dingfeng County. The young man does not understand how Chen dared to negotiate with him on such terms and greatly underestimates him. Yijai writes an appropriate letter. To fight in the ring, the stakes must be equal, otherwise no one will play with him. The old man expected nothing less from the temple superior. Shaolin not only did not slow down but also challenged Chen Ding. The abbot says that Chen has been in Dingfeng for many years. He should have money, and also a warrior's name. As for Shaolin, Yijai intends to make a profit. The old man tells the abbot that he has tarnished his reputation. People in the district have started talking about the upcoming event. They hope for Shaolin's victory because he is blessed by Buddha. The Iron Bull approaches passers-by and asks where the best restaurant is. The girls are frightened of him as they have never seen such a big guy before. The lady is surprised that he needs to go to a restaurant. He was made to scare people. In Dingfeng County there is a restaurant, Xian Kailai. The best there are white chicken and beef in soy sauce, and the aged flower wine Dio is the tastiest of the wines. The man does not understand why the waiter is standing still and not going to the kitchen. The young man says that the Iron Bull's place is reserved. Fighter says that there are no problems here and he will arrange it. The restaurant worker says that this gentleman is not ordinary. He is the son of the richest man in Dingfeng, Liu Million Liu Yun. Waiter hears that Duke Liu is already here. The father sent his son to study martial arts at the Songshan school, but he never really mastered them well. Instead, he made many fox friends, and he wanders all day causing trouble in Dingfeng County. Dio greets Yun and says that he had to travel a long way. The young man hands him money and asks to do everything as usual. The restaurant owner asks the young master to eat a little later. Yun slaps him and threatens to wreck the whole shop. Dio is sorry, but their place is already taken. The guys do not understand what is happening. The Iron Bull asks the upstart what the matter is. Yunhe is curious where this savage came from and why he does not give way to Master Liu. Big Guy asks the young man whom he called a savage. He jerks upward and says he hates being called that. The man intends to test his new weapon. Guys immediately prepare their blades. Girl prepares to pounce on him from behind. But the Iron Bull is so powerful that with one hand he holds back the onslaught of the boys' swords, and with the other he holds the girl. Strongman throws her against the wall. The boys were scared for their sister. From this impact, the wall began to crumble. The old man sits with Yijai and says that Chen Ding deliberately used his connections to invite a wide circle of important people in the Dingfeng County to help in the fight. Wan says that this person is Yue Shan, one of Chen's invited masters. They say that once he wanted to become a monk, but because his fighting spirit was too strong, he was not accepted into the temple, so he took an iron chainmail and called himself a wanderer. Yun approaches from behind and prepares to strike with his sword. After the fight, he hangs out the window, and his girlfriend lies powerless by the wall. The Iron Bull lies bloodied and unconscious. The young man stands over his body and is about to finish off the enemy. Suddenly, a small stone hits him right in the leg. The young man was confused and did not understand what had happened. When he turned around to look at the attacker, Abbot Shaolin was standing before him. The monk says that Buddha does not allow bloodshed. He has already had enough of this spectacle and will not allow further fights. The fighter says that the Iron Bull wounded one of his sect and must die. And Zai Jai declares that today this must stop, and if the young man still has the strength to fight, let him go to the poor monk. Abbot Shaolin throws the Iron Bull onto his horse. Chun's friend broke out in a cold sweat from fear. After all, the monk was able to lift the barbarian so easily, who weighs at least 200 pounds. People around tell him that he is the abbot of Shaolin and a divine person. They advise listening to the master and letting go of his hatred. The bull tells Shan Yue that Yan's life is over and calls him to come with him. The unknown person ordered him not to resist. Suddenly it turns out to be a dream and the thug wakes up. Yue does not understand why his face hurts so much. Yijai greets him and says that this is the Shaolin Temple and he is its abbot. The Iron Bull immediately becomes inspired for battle and remembers his savior. The monk says that he was not the one who saved him. The strong man does not understand what the young man means. The abbot insists that Yue saved himself, and if it were not for his stubbornness, even if the poor monk had come, it would have been too late to save him. The Iron Bull falls to his knees and expresses his desire to become a monk. From now on he will serve Shaolin. Jai shows his power and says that this is nonsense. He's very surprised by his inner strength. The monk indulges his wish but thinks that the guest is not sincere and he will quickly get tired of it. The abbot says that the strong man must leave to avoid new troubles. The Iron Bull sincerely desired his goal. He visited many temples, but everywhere he was rejected. On August 1st, a crowd gathered to watch the fight between the Shaolin Temple and Fawang. With the approval of the Danfeng district government, the Shaolin Temple and the Fawang Temple will sign a life-and-death agreement. The losing side will descend from Mount Shaoxi. There will be 5 fights, and the winner of 3 will receive the prize. The first match will take place between Li Xuan and the Iron Bull from the Shaolin Temple. There are no restrictions in the duel. The drummer starts the fight. People know the master Iron Bull, Tai Niu. He can break a boulder as tall as a human with one strike. Li Xuan calls One Ring Fake a Buddhist degenerate, and today he intends to finish him. Yijai gives instructions to his fighter and warns him about the power of the inner palm. Niu is born with divine power and has a good education in martial arts. Even without inner strength, he is extremely strong. The Iron Bull has about a 70% chance of winning. Li Xuan skillfully dodged Tai Niu's strikes. Ji is amazed that the monk can dodge such chaotic blows. The guy thinks that Li definitely has some tricks up his sleeve, but if his guess is correct, they will have little effect on the Iron Bull. The monk from the Fawang Temple must find a way to put an end to the current state of affairs and escape the barrage of attacks. Li Xuan decided to immediately apply the internal palm force. The man applied the iron sand palm. Blood appeared on Tai Niu's shoulder. The monk, smirking slyly, thinks that in Shaolin there are only miserable little men. Glad about the plan, Miss An was hiding her strength, but he can no longer do so. Suddenly Tai Nu takes out his secret weapon. He strikes Li Xuan directly with steel spikes. The iron bull swings again and was about to kill the monk. The disciple of the Fawang temple holds his shoulder and trembles with fear. Yijai shouts to his subordinate and orders him not to kill the monk. The warrior deliberately misses past the abbot's command and leaves a huge dent in the arena. Li Xuan sees that they really intended to kill him. First match is declared over. The Shaolin temple has won. Shaolin lives up to people's expectations and Tai is truly strong. The monk praises his fighter and asks him to treat the wound. He does not understand why he was not allowed to simply kill him. Li Xuan still cannot recover from the shock after what happened. The host says that the second group of opponents will be determined by drawing lots. In the second match, Chen Ding and Yi Jin will face each other. The man does not remember Yi Jin being so strong. The old man does not fully understand the abbot's choice. Although Chen Ding is not very strong, he is still at the intermediate stage, whereas Yi Jin can rise higher. Shaolin abbot believes in the young man. After arriving in this world, Yijai taught the young man everything, and apparently his combat energy is 50% stronger. He will be able to withstand Chen Ding. Suddenly, the boy notices that the iron bull has moved away somewhere. He approached the carriage with the red curtain. Behind him turned out to be Ning Wanjun. Jai understood that this little girl wanted to test him, but she was still too young. The assistant asks the miss if she has seen Abbott, and she replies that he simply doesn't care. The lady is surprised. In this world there is a person she cannot conquer. Ning orders Tai Nu to return back and stay in Shaolin. She says that from now on he will be himself and will no longer have anything to do with them or his past life. When the girl returns, she will tell the abbot that after today's victory of the temple, she will personally go to Shaolin and ask to solve her problems. The girl does not understand how the mistress knows that they can win. Ning says that everything depends on the will of Yijai, and if he wants, he will definitely win. Kung Fu practice strengthened Yi Jing's power, and he became a master of the art of Fu Hu Fist. With empty hands, he could easily fight against Chen Ding's iron fan, and his fists and strikes were flawless. Chen noticed the monk's strength hand. If he continues to act in the same spirit, Chen will lose, therefore he cannot fight him at close range. The man uses a hidden weapon and unleashes a barrage of needles on the enemy. Yi Jin is simple-minded and naive, but that is also his weakness, can be caught off guard by a hidden weapon. Viewers were surprised by such a turn of events. Jin grabbed his face in pain. Chen Ding praises the monk and says that he is quite good because he had to use this level of strength. But unfortunately, today the Shaolin monk is doomed to fail. The old man suggests to the abbot to accept defeat and save their comrade's life. The opponent planned to finish off the young man with the final blow. After this, a gigantic pillar of dust rises in the arena. Jin says that Chen will be first. The monk hits him right in the stomach so hard that the opponent writhes in pain. The young man runs and finishes off Chen. Chen Ding does not understand how his attack did not work. Jin says that Master Yijai taught him the iron head technique. The monk tells Chen if he loses, then he has nothing more to say. Suddenly, a sword is thrown onto the arena from an unknown side. This old man suddenly becomes the sword of broken water, Chai Xiang. They admit defeat, so the young master must be lenient. This time the Shaolin temple won. Uncle says that the situation now is, further fighting will change nothing. Chai Xiang says that everything happened because the nephew was too greedy, and this became a lesson for him, which he received by breaking his fate. Fans ask when the Shaolin temple will again accept lay disciples. Yijai understands. After this day, Shaolin will become the only Buddhist temple on Mount Shaoxi. Victory in the Dingfeng tournament without a doubt will raise its reputation. The abbot thanks for the support, and tomorrow he will lead the Shaolin monk's ceremony. Yijai sits in the evening on a bench in the temple's backyard. The young man notices Ning, and he wonders why she decided to visit his temple again. The girl says that thanks to the monk's instructions she feels much better, but there is still something else she would like to ask the abbot's advice about besides the question about her father. Monk asks speak to her immediately and directly. Nin says that 30 years ago the divine monk of the Jianhu world sat on Mount Shaemuro and left behind a relic. It attracted the attention of many because it had magical properties, but after long searches everyone eventually returned empty-handed. The lady continues, once her father came across a small poem that spoke about several martial arts masters. The girl read it to the monk and she became curious, could he observe the harmony? And Yijai says that he has thought over the poem and is ready to announce the result. Nin asks, tell it. The young man combined the first word of the first stanza, the second word of the second stanza, and so on. they can be combined into one sentence, which sounds like, "High on Mount Sheamu," and then the last line of the poem needs to be added. Nin says that the abbess is so talented that she is now ashamed of herself. The abbot understood why she left Tai Niu. The lady excuses herself and says that the iron ox knew nothing about the relic, and the tiger De Huang really used him to find the treasure. Now the young man understands why he saw him sleeping in the forest several times. Jai asks the girl why this relic is so important to her. In her youth, Nin was engaged to the son of a martial arts clan. A few years ago, he was dying from cold poison and relied on the clan elders who gave him internal energy to sustain life. The girl did not want to marry him, so she approached to talk, hoping for a breakup, but the boy said that it was not for her to decide because they had been engaged since childhood. Nin does not understand why she cannot leave the marriage since she does not like the boy. The boy calmly replies that marriage is a matter for the parents and matchmakers, so there is no place here for concepts like or dislike. The lady declares that she will never marry him and asks her father to annul the engagement. The groom calls her naive because her father's position in the sect is already under threat. Without the support of their sect, those who doubted him would have removed him. In tears, Nin shouts that she does not like him, so she does not understand why she has to marry him. The son of the martial arts clan offers her to break off the engagement if she finds the cure for the cold poison. If not, she will immediately marry him. The girl asks what exactly, so the relics from Mount Sheashi are her last hope. The boy strokes her head and advises not to put all hopes on this relic. There is no cure for the cold poison. And Zai Jai understands, if the relic really exists, then it is in the hands of a mysterious person deep in the mountain, but the monk is not sure if he can defeat him. The abbot comforts her and says that nothing is impossible, it is just that someone has not yet found the right path. The lady says that the abbot is truly the highest monk and she hopes for his help. The boy does not understand how exactly this job fell upon him. Yijai says that since she was destined to be with the son of the martial arts clan, she will have to go through a lot to break their marriage. The monk hopes that she understood his intention to receive a reward. Nin plans to stay at the inn at the foot of the mountain to go to the temple daily, offer incense, and wait for news from the abbot. The young man fell into a trance, realizing her stupidity. The girl asks the monk if he is all right. The events move to the Zhangyu sect. The temple followers tell the abbot that they cannot allow the Shaolin temple to continue in the same spirit and at such a pace. In less than 2 months, they will have hundreds of people. They also heard that the new monks have certain abilities, and at this rate, they will have to yield the name of Mount Sheashi to others. Miao knows, but Shaolin is no longer what it was after the Dingfeng ring. Man is not sure he can defeat Yue Sheng alone. The teacher sends the boys to the central Chinese branch of the sacred sect and orders them to join forces to destroy Shaolin. Monks are shocked this is a devilish religion. The abbot says that demon cults are also human as long as they eradicate Shaolin and pay them. Man thinks that no one will find out that they did it. The junior monk suggests that Shaolin should first be invited to the Heavenly Path Alliance, and if they agree, they will not become rivals. The abbot says that both are sects of Mount Sheashi, and if Shaolin joins the Taoist Alliance, it will definitely attract the attention of the Alliance Master, and then their days will become even worse. They cannot do the same as before, they must do what Ao Miao commands. On the back mountain of the Shaolin temple, Yijai watches the tiger and is curious where it is going. Suddenly, someone unknown drives the tiger away and shouts. Yijai intended only to follow the tiger, but he did not expect to actually find the hiding place of a mysterious person deep in the mountain. The wave rising from his internal power was able to lift the tiger to a height of over 200 feet. At the abbot stage, he could deliver the same strike, but it would be weak. The monk thinks, why not go and find out what it is and search for information about the relic. Yijai senses a mysterious fragrance in the cave. At first he thinks it is flowers, but as soon as the young man catches it, he immediately recognizes the smell of medicine. The cave and the mysterious man look dangerous, but as the old saying goes, if you don't enter the tiger's den, you won't catch the tiger cub. The boy barely squeezes through a narrow crack in the cave. Yijai does not know what kind of medicine this person is preparing, but the rich aroma definitely does not resemble that of ordinary herbs. The young man does not understand why this mysterious man is chained by this strange chain to a huge cauldron for potions. Perhaps he offended the former Shaolin abbot and ended up imprisoned. Suddenly the old man sharply turns and casts a glare at the boy. Yijai immediately hides behind a hill. He understands that within this cave the old man can reach any place he wants. The abbot, returning to the temple the next day, shows Guang the elixir, a small pill of the southern Shaolin return. The old man says that in the south there is a very famous temple. It is also called Shaolin. Their main income is based on pharmaceuticals. They sell medicines and charge for medical services if wealthy people come, or provide free medical aid if poor people come. This temple has a good reputation in the region and never interferes in Jianghu affairs. This temple has 3 famous medicines, one golden for external injuries, the second extremely famous in the martial arts world is Zio Hui Dan, red in color and with a bright aroma. People in the jungles often have to pay a high price to get a small rejuvenation pill. The last and most expensive is the Great Return Elixir. It is said that as long as a person still breathes, the Great Return pill can bring them back to life and is a treasure of the southern Shaolin temple. Yijai did not expect that the old man's pills would turn out to be so miraculous, and there were at least 100 jars and wooden boxes in the cave. 2 people approaching the temple argue about self-improvement and self-support. They believe it is only a way to deceive oneself and others. Juan tells the abbot that first of all he needs to get rid of these people. Yijai says he will go and meet them, and the old man should take care of his own affairs. The boy greets them and asks the master what he is talking about. None understands who this young man is. Monk declares that he is the abbot of this temple. The guest says that Yijai is only a few years younger than his disciple, and the latter, in turn, finds the Shaolin abbot very attractive. Yijai is confused by the stranger's words. The woman wants to ask the abbot if he knows what the other side means. The boy answers, the realm of bliss. She says, the shore is a kind of longing, aspiration, a kingdom, and only by achieving righteousness and understanding the true meaning of Buddhism. The abbot asks if the teacher has already finished. He still wants to get it in the face. The boy calls Sukayan. He calls him one of the best students Shaolin he has known for only a few months, and once was almost unfamiliar with Buddhism. The master says that the abbot behaves foolishly because he knows nothing about Buddhism, so he exposes the child as a living shield. Zukayan says that Yijai taught them, achieving righteousness and perfection of virtue leads to the state of nirvana, the other shore. The monk says that his student not long ago begged for food because he was poor and had a rebellious character. The guest is angry because the abbot called the beggar to humiliate him. His student understands it is all over because his master is very angry. The teacher asks Yijai if Shaolin is really the same place where martial arts are studied. The boy says that their temple has not existed for long, but recently Shaolin won a tournament in Dingfeng, clear proof of that. And the monk replies, the master said loud words, so he is ashamed. Wanderer mocks the abbot and his conversations with Buddha. Woman asks Linyi to hand over his sword. Poor nun of the Amei school Ju Min asks the abbot for advice. This sword is called Broken Sky. It has been following him for several decades and finds many opponents throughout Jianghu. Yijai was surprised that this turned out to be one of the 3 most famous swords in the world, and it seemed that this person's skills were higher than Yixuan's. The abbot soberly assesses his strength. He understands what he has cultivated in Kung Fu, and in the end, he is an ordinary person of flesh and blood, and if the boy is not careful, his life will end when he encounters such a powerful weapon. The monk says that this is a Buddhist sect, so it is not suitable for practicing martial arts. The guest thinks that the abbot is scared, and the so-called miracles are just lies. The young man understands. If he refuses, people will think that Shaolin is afraid of Amei, so he suggests going to another place. The woman intends to see what tricks Yijai can pull off. Monk quickly began to move away from the temple. The Amei follower says that this little monk is very skilled in techniques. He asks her disciple to wait, and Linyi does not know what to do. The girl considers her master arrogant. After all, she relies on the fact that Amei is a great school in the Jianghu area. Lin hopes that this time her mentor will not be humiliated too much, otherwise she will get angry again. The young man understands the old monk is too strong, and he fears that to win, all Shaolin martial forces will have to be thrown in. This would be bad publicity for the temple. The only way to make her fight the mysterious old man is to drag her into a duel, and regardless of the outcome, Shaolin will benefit. Yijai understands she is not caught up with him yet, so there is still time to prepare. Now he needs to find a way to make the old man want to fight her. The old man notices him and thinks that the master abbot sent him here to deliver a message. The boy says he came here specifically to ask for help. The prisoner laughs because he was locked in this cave, and now they are asking for help. Yijai says he is unaware of the offenses of the past, but he has a way to break this iron chain. With the help of the divine weapon, Heavenly Destroyer, it will be possible to break the shackles, and if the old man helps the boy, he will use the sword. Nun bursts into the cave and wants to cut Abbot. Yijai, barely managing to dodge the attacks, tells the elder that now is the time to help him. The The woman says that this trick is very mean. He claims that whatever plan the old man has, it will not work. The mysterious inhabitant of the cave says that this is not bad, but not even close to what he used to be. The man in chains attacks the nun from behind and knocks the sword out of her. The old man immediately set his eyes on the sword that destroys the heavens. But at that very moment, Yijai catches the weapon in midair. The young man thanks the elder for the help. The prisoner intended to stop the monk with his dark palm from Cie. Follower of Imei does not understand to what level the martial art of this old man has reached and how it can be so terrifying. The mysterious old man is furious because the little monk did not keep his promise, so he intends to kill him. The monk says he intends to destroy Shaolin because Yijai not only wounded him, he deprived him of the Duan Tian sword. The old man from the cave uses his palm and orders the uninvited guest to leave. The head of the Imei gang says, if he dies, the gang will never forgive his death. Yijai says that he does not want to kill him. It is he himself who seeks suffering and there is nothing he can do about it. The young man cuts the cliff with a new sword. Falling down, the enemy shouts that he will definitely return. The abbot says that life and death are in the hands of life, wealth and nobility are determined by God, so he wishes good luck. He does not care whether this person dies, the main thing is that the Duan Tian sword is now in his hands, and he will have the capital to make a deal with the mysterious person deep in the mountain. Yijai tells the senior comrade that Shaolin will soon open for dinner, and if he is late, there will be no food left. A scream and a burst of energy break out from the cave. The old man, he planned to kill the monk. The boy notices a little nun sitting under a tree and does not understand why she has not left yet. Lin does not understand why her master's sword ended up in the hands of a stranger. The abbot asks her to guess why the sword ended up with him. Realizing that the teacher was killed, the girl began to sob wildly. Yijai says that she misunderstood everything and he did not kill her master. The girl cannot believe it. Even an average Zayanshin cannot kill her teacher, but this time her teacher was killed by a boy. The young man grabs the nun by the hand and repeats again that he did not kill her master. The abbot understands. The old man's palm turned out to be too strong. It struck Ju Min so hard that she will have to lie down and her master will not recover for another 3 or 5 months. And Yijai says that her master descended from the opposite side of the hill. The nun was shocked. From the opposite side of the hill, a chasm, so her teachers were thrown off the cliff. The girl falls to her knees and bitterly mourns her master again. The boy hides behind a tree and says that he has no morals, so it is not worth trying to pity him. Lin simply wants to ask where her master fell on the mountain to retrieve her body. Since he became abbot, he has never been in such confusion. A young man rich in knowledge but unable to do anything with a crying girl. Yijai understands that his inaction will ruin reputation, soul, and character. The boy asks her to calm down. He will not say where Ju Min crashed. Having realized the whole story, the girl understood. Her master did not die. The nun is going to stay here and wait for the return of her mentor. The young man says that for such a young girl it is too inconvenient to stay in the Shaolin temple, so he asks her to return to Mount Imei as soon as possible. Lin replies that she does not know the route, and since he threw her teachers off the cliff from the school, he vouches for her. Yijai gets angry and says, if he had known that everything would turn out this way, he would have thrown her off the cliff too. Fortunately, Ning Wanjun, who was waiting for news, stopped near the temple and therefore managed to take a closer look at the young nun. But not everything is so joyful. In broad daylight, a spy infiltrated the temple. Yue Shan beats all the nonsense out of him and orders him to tell everything. Yijai asks his subordinate to stop the beating for a while. The spy wants to start telling the story. The spy calls Yijai a bald donkey and reproaches him for daring to go against their clan on Zhangyu. Yue Shan cannot stand it and hits the scoundrel with all his might. The abbot realized the subordinate hit too hard and killed the spy. But the monk considers it a trifle. These are just Laotian priests who found out that Shaolin is developing too well. The young man ordered Yue to throw the body into the backyard of the Zhangyu clan to warn them. Yijai says that their temple does not incite violations, but neither does it avoid them. The boy thinks that his plot is similar to Manhwa, where a man fights monsters to level up. Suddenly the monk realizes someone was nearby and he didn't even notice. The girl from the forest asks him for help, and Yijai asks if she is injured. The lady asks him to come and help her. She twisted her ankle. The abbot understands the beauty of this woman is not inferior to the beauty of Ning Wanjun, but without heavenly aura and without Lin's sweet innocence, she still feels like a fox spirit. Yijai asks the stranger if there is anyone who came with her. The girl says there is no one and her feet hurt very badly. The young man approaches her closer and suddenly says that she smells very bad. The girl does not understand what the abbot is talking about. The monk says that her beauty does not shake his faith in Buddha and that he just wanted to see what she had up her sleeve. The stranger is stunned. How could she be called ugly and even smelly? Yijai says that the face comes from the heart and she agrees with how he speaks grandly, but she does not understand why the monk does not look back. The young man replies that he does not want to see dirty things. The abbot sees that Mo Lan's legs have improved, so she will be able to descend the mountain without outside help. The monk calls the eagle to him and asks it to track who this girl belongs to and why she is casting spells on him. Yiji admits he is handsome, but he understands that not handsome enough for beautiful girls to cling to him on their own. They ask the lady how the mission went, and she replies that they took the enemy too lightly. The boy thinks he should approach the corner and eavesdrop, but that would ruin his status as Shaolin abbot. Suddenly the boy realized this is the very inn where Ning stayed. If Yijai were enchanted today and then taken to the inn, something extremely unpleasant would happen to him. The abbot would become a laughingstock, not a Buddhist monk. The Shaolin temple would be ruined and the disciples would abandon it. People whom the monk once offended would come to take revenge, and if by some miracle he managed to survive their torment, at best he would end his life begging for alms from passers-by. Yijai understands this demoness is so insidious that she was ready to deceive even a poor monk. He was going to settle matters with the old man in the cave to figure out what they wanted to frame him for. The girl asks the maid if she looks good, and the maid replies, "In the entire Tianhai pavilion, there is no one more beautiful than her in Qiu." If that is really so, then she does not understand why she failed to seduce the monk. The sisters say that there is no need to worry. This foolish monk cannot even distinguish corn kernels from gold. The girl does not understand. The Shaolin abbot can be so close to Lady Wangjun, so could she really be better than her in some way? The assistant says that Ning only pretends to be beautiful. She thinks Ning Jai likes not her herself but only her image, so he is so kind to her. The girl replies, "Today they underestimated the opponent, and next time they need to use 5 or 6 levels of power." She reminds Zhu Heng wants them to take care of Yijai as soon as possible. If it does not work out, he will send a leader to deal with this matter. The demoness throws down the towel and asks to tell Zhu Heng that although he is the mentor of the demon sect, he has no rights to manage the affairs of the Tianhai pavilion. The girl says that if he dares to send someone to deal with Yijai, then he should not be surprised if she does not give him a proper reception. Mo Lan tells Ning that she is here to prove her beauty and show Murong Qiu that she is not the best in Tianhai. Yijai meets Ning in the Shaolin temple and talks about the host's game, a card game, the essence of which is to ask each other questions. The assistant asks if monks are allowed to play gambling games. The abbot says that this is by no means a gambling game, he is an honest monk. The strangers hear this story and say that Yijai insults the holy place of Buddha by flirting with the benefactress instead of practicing. Yijai does not understand who these gentlemen are and where they came from. He questioned the monks, and Yijai realized that there is something in common between them and the master and the old man in the cave. The stranger says there is no need to worry, he will take care of him himself. For a month he will live on the back slope of the mountain and then he will leave, but during this time no one is allowed to visit there, and if the abbot does not agree, the man will get rid of him. Using qi, they demonstrate their strength to each other. The monk understands that he is still not strong enough to fight such an opponent. The young man says to Min Xin he is senior to him in rank and can do whatever he wants, so Min Xin must not contradict him. But there are no houses on the back slope, they will have to build a hut themselves. The guest's companion calls Yijai a self-satisfied fool and orders him to know his place. He tells his teacher that this boy does not respect elders at all, and Min Xin replies that his anger will not ruin their plan. They should wait for the right time, then they will meet the abbot of Northern Shaolin again. Boys set up camp right at the entrance to the cave. Jai realizes that this cave is full of elixirs and possibly rare relics. So the young man cannot allow 2 monks with ill intentions to do whatever they want on his territory, but since they stayed, he has a chance to catch them by surprise. The abbot lands on an eagle right near their camp. Seeing Min Xuan's disciple, he feels anger but understands he must deal with him later. Min says to Du Laozi that he has prepared a corrosive potion, and Yijai landed on the nearest branch. Now he at least knows the name of this old man. The man says if the potion is applied to the iron chain, it will become brittle, and with Laozi's strength, the chain will easily break. Suddenly, the old man from the cave declares that he knows Min Xin's plan. He thinks that the monk wants to take all his elixirs for himself, and if not, he does not understand why his disciple is not with him. A burden fell from Min Zin's shoulders. He was afraid he had been exposed. The man repeats again, all his disciples are already dead, only one poor monk remains. He is the only one who can release Laozi, but if it is not needed he will simply leave. The old man holding the chain agrees he is already tired of sitting here. As soon as he gets out of this cave, the monk will be able to take whatever he wishes. Min Zin asks if he can take the neck with the large elixir. The guest suggests using a drop of the corrosive potion, and if it works they will be even. Laozi pours only one drop and it immediately reacts. The old man is surprised and asks to give him all the potion. The monk's plan worked. He pours out his entire vial. And Ijai understands he would not have been able to give all his potion just like that, without mentioning the elixir, the very one he had just lured out. The young man understands that nothing here is accidental. Laozi is well versed in medicines, but it seems this potion was made too skillfully, so he did not notice the difference. Suddenly, cries come from the cave. The old man realized that it is poison, and he was deceived. Laozi calls Min Xuan heartless. The monk says that this potion looks exactly like the corrosive one, but thanks to some ingredients he added poison in such a way that there were no changes in either smell or color. The old man does not understand why they decided to poison him after all. He agreed to give all the medicines. They say that 30 years ago during the battle on Mount Shaoxi, due to Laozi's mistake, his mentor Kong Yin died. The body remained here as well as the ancient relic of Shariputra. Laozi remembered that battle and immediately cried while the monk continued to accuse him. The master locked him in this cave, promising that he would allow him to brew elixirs and pills, but in reality he wanted Laozi to forever remember what he had done. The old man looks at the relic in his hands with sadness on his face. Laozi agrees with Min, but that was his mistake. Only everything is not so simple. The monk says that now it no longer bothers him. He will prepare not only to take the medicine but also to bring the relic back to southern Shaolin. And thanks to it, he will be able to win over the disciples to his side and take the position of abbot. Yijai now understood his whole plan. Laozi intends to burn the relic in the furnace better than give it to Min. Shaolin abbot hears cries coming from the cave. The old man strikes him and calls his old acquaintance a fool. After all, such a valuable relic is not so easy to destroy. Min says that one should not be so confident because Laozi is very weakened and can use only a third of his strength. The monk coughs up blood because the old man is just as skillful in using poisons. The scoundrel goes mad and unleashes all his power. And Ijai understood, the time has come, it's time to act. The boy draws his divine sword and is ready to protect Laozi. He will still need it. Min uses an energy sphere, but the youth is not foolish enough to engage him in direct combat, and with poison in his body, he clearly won't last long. Min Zin is finally defeated, exhausted. He falls to the ground near the old man. Ijai, smiling, tells Laozi that a few days ago he did not dare to come to help, and hopes that the master will understand his fears. The old man says that he would have done the same in his place, because releasing some stranger from the cave without knowing who he is and why he is chained. Laozi says that in the end everything is futile, and for a decrepit old man who will soon turn 100 years old, it's time to treat life and death more simply. Ijai suggests to the master to go out and look at the moon. The old man says that 30 years ago Kong Ing died trying to save him. After that, Kong Fan imprisoned him here to atone for his sin, but it is impossible. It would have been better if Fan had just killed him instead of leaving him to live in solitude. Laozi thanks the Shaolin abbot for the entertainment and therefore allows him to take Shariputra's relic and any medicine from this cave. Suddenly Yijai raises the divine sword and wants to say something to the old man. Laozi is still alive and looks at his broken chain and cannot believe what he sees. The young man officially declares that Du Laozi is free and has fulfilled his duty. The master, having escaped the cave, was infinitely happy. 30 years had passed, and he finally saw the Milky Way, so now he does not regret dying. Min Zin is dead now. He needs to get rid of Yi Ying, otherwise it is unclear what he will be able to do. Yijai tells Laozi that everything that happened today will remain only between them and the starry sky, and now he is curious about what the old man will do. The sage understands. All his friends are dead, as are his relatives. He also does not know what happened to Jianghu. The abbot suggests he go to Jianghu and see with his own eyes, but he refuses. He says it is too dangerous a place and he is already too old to fight, and he no longer has that zeal. Yijai then suggests becoming a monk. The old man finds the young man interesting. He is no longer capable of anything, and he does not want to train anyone anymore. The monk says that they still do not have a cleaner and suggests Laozi try. The young man suggests looking at the temple. Although it has only recently begun to be restored, everyone is working tirelessly and is very determined, optimistic, and the residents are happy about the changes. Layazi sees the pagoda in the temple and dreams of climbing it. The boy asks the master to come in and inspect his room. The old man sits on the cold tile in the temple courtyard and says he does not need a room. The boy says that everyone has ups and downs in life, so he asks if Layazi has any regrets about anything. The master says the only thing he regrets is the death of Kong Yang. And he does not care about his enemies. In Jianghu, everyone is for themselves, so he cannot hate them, and now all he wants is to live out his days in the Shaolin Temple. And Jai hopes that Layazi will stay, then all his problems will be solved. Obviously, the old man will not wait for him in vain, so he will not bother him over trifles. If something really serious happens, he will have to intervene. From now on, he is simply a nameless monk, an elder of the Shaolin Temple. Now that he has become part of this temple, he would like to pass this relic to the young man. The scene shifts to another part of rainy Jianghu. An exhausted boy is trying with all his might to carry and not drop the girl sitting on his back. Armed horsemen seem to be searching for them, intent on finding the boys at any cost. It seems this girl is a princess because her companion addresses her by title. He says they are already in Denfen and the city of Lu is very close. The lady tells Yue Yin that she will soon leave this world, and he must deliver the news to Chang'an. The boy asks her not to worry, the rain washed away the tracks, so they won't be able to catch them. The princess says that she is very tired and wants to sleep. Yue Yin asks her to endure. He will try to find a place where they can rest. The weakened young people simply fall to the ground from exhaustion. Eagle and Jai have been watching them all this time. Suddenly, the bodyguard twitches upwards and does not understand where he has ended up at all. The Shaolin disciple who helped Yue finally saw that he came to his senses. Yue lay unconscious all night and all day. Holding his head, the young man accompanying the princess asks where he is. Yue had not yet recovered when he hears the lady's scream. The guy jumps out into the street in the rain, despite his wounds. In the room, the girl asks not to come near her, but they tell her that everything will be fine. Yue bursts inside with a sword and shouts, "Yijai, take your hands off her." Guan cannot stand this brat and knocks the sword out of his hands. Yue Yin could not even imagine that the Buddhist monk who swore to protect all living things and chose a worldly life would decide to join the rebels. Yijai does not understand what all this means. He saved the young man and assigned a person to take care of him, and the first thing the young man does is attack his savior. The princess's guard does not understand what is happening at all. The girl orders the abbot in the name of Princess Dayton to execute Guan Shanyue. The old man says even the emperor's daughter does not have such power. He saw her only on Suhin. She married his son, so he does not understand why she wishes death upon the poor monk. Princess asks him not to pretend that he knows nothing. Yijai was horrified by this turn of Evenchi's subordinate suddenly becomes the father-in-law of the emperor's daughter. In that case, the girl asks to be heard because 10 days ago something terrible happened. The lady came, as always, to bring tea to her husband, but suddenly overheard his conversation. They were planning to kill Zhao Yuanzi at the Dingfeng border, and then the assassin would flee to Shanadun and finish off the governor-general. Brother Feng tells Guan that he will be able not only to control 2 provinces once he gains the emperor's support, he will be able to conquer the entire celestial empire. The man calls his wife stupid, saying she will die without even realizing that she is just a stepping stone to his throne. She immediately burst into tears as soon as she heard these words. On the same day, Yue Ying gathered more than a dozen guards and under the pretext of evening prayer, took the lady away. Out of more than 10 guards, only he remained after the chase. The old man immediately boiled with anger as soon as he heard what his son had done. The princess simply fainted upon seeing her father-in-law like that. Shan Yue says that Tianzhao intends to sow chaos and throw ordinary people into a state of war, so he can no longer consider this supposedly unworthy man his son. He asks to be allowed to finish off this scoundrel himself and restore peace. Yijai says that he definitely has personal guards, because if he dared to organize the murder of his wife and start a betrayal, he will not be afraid to take the murder of his father upon his conscience. The monks ask the boys what they will do now. Yue understands. Tianzhou has probably blocked all roads to the capital, so another way is needed to reach Chang'an and inform the emperor about the rebellion. The abbot believes that Guan should accompany the princess to the capital and personally appear before the emperor. This way he will prove the seriousness of his intentions and be able to avoid punishment. The young man understands. All this is clearly leading to nothing good. For the sake of the common people, Yi Chen is ready to go against his own son, but if he does not return to Shaolin within a month, the boy will set out to find him. Morning has come. Some eccentric near the Shaolin temple praises it and asks to look at the boys on the road leading to the temple. The young master is reminded they need to search the temple to find out if Yue Ying is hiding there. The youth holds the defense of the abbot of the temple. He is enlightened, can speak with Buddha, so he is fine. The subordinate reminds about the governor-general's order and urges to finish everything as soon as possible. The Shaolin devotee agrees only on one condition: everyone must respectfully address the abbot of this temple. The boy hears the Shaolin bell, its ringing cleanses the soul, and the assistant thinks their master is a fool, so they should go to a doctor and check if he even has a brain. Jai notices Li and asks how he is doing. Li Yunshin's third son squeals like a girl and greets the abbot of the temple. His retinue is angry because the youth shames them all. They do not understand what exactly this monk did for such treatment. Half a month ago, Yunshin and Lady Huang went to the Shaolin temple to ask Buddha for a blessing for their marriage and suddenly saw a pillar of golden light. That day they saw a miracle with their own eyes. They were amazed and they decided that the monk was a miracle worker. A majestic bell passed through the very heart and Yunshin felt. Buddha soared to the heavens and he heard the voice of Buddha himself. Yiji asks the young man why he came to the temple, but seeing the expression on his face, decides that he is a fool. Yunshin says that the head of the alliance asked him to deliver an invitation to participate in the martial arts demonstration in Zhangzhou. The abbot does not understand why they decided to invite them, but refusing is definitely not an option. He suggests that due to the recent activity of demonic sects, the Alliance of the Heavenly Path wants to create alliances with new martial arts sects to oppose them. Yiji understands chaos will soon begin and he does not know if they will be able to withstand such a difficult time, so he is obliged to increase his strength and that of everyone in Shaolin. The abbot says that in that case he asks Mr. Li to convey to Master Hua. On the 1st of October, the poor monk will definitely arrive at the martial arts tournament. The boy wants to meet the monk at the Songshan school and no one will dare to touch him while Li is nearby. He is escorted by subordinates and the young man, leaving, asks the master to give his name for registration. In honor of the Chrysanthemum Festival this month, it was possible to spin the roulette twice. The abbot won the construction of the Arhat Hall and teachings on divine kung fu. Yiji students ask him what kind of building this is. Temple abbot asks them to follow him. Iron Bull boasts and says that he resembles a dragon tamer. Hainu does not lag behind and says that he resembles a tiger lord. The monk recalls all the things and structures he won in the system have an additional effect, so he is curious about what effect the Arhat Hall has. When he entered here, he felt a surge of internal energy. The young man understood the Arhat Hall doubles the results of training. If his students train here, they will be able to reach a new level in martial arts performances. And Yijai announces that from now on all their training will take place here. The Arhat Hall will not only fill them with energy but also help relax the mind and body. The young man hands Yi Jing a book and says that he needs it for training until the day of the martial arts exhibition. The abbot states that they must study and train the combat techniques of the Shaolin Temple to showcase them at the rehearsal in October, and if they have any questions they should turn to the nameless monk. The monk is glad that Shaolin is unique in its aspiration to become the best martial arts school. Jai rides a white horse and whistles. But then his walk is suddenly interrupted by a loud crowd, and he becomes curious about what is happening there. The young man sees Mo Lan standing in the middle of the crowd and does not understand why she was attacked in broad daylight. The girl rushes at them with a sword and intends to kill them all one by one. The bandit says that such a refined beauty should not hold a sword, and Mo Lan replies, "Degenerates from Fusang are not even close to the heroes of Dayton." The boy does not understand which heroes she is talking about. He has not seen any yet. Mo Lan cannot stand it and kicks him right between the legs. The second bandit calls her a whore and lunges at her with a sword. Jai appears, who grabs the blade with his bare hands. The scoundrel realizes that this unknown monk is very strong. The Shaolin abbot does not understand who allowed them to misbehave in Dayton on their own. The bandit grabs a second sword, intending to kill the abbot. The girl screams in fear and worries about the abbot. Jai sends the offender flying with just one snap. All the passers-by admire the strength of the Shaolin abbot. Mo Lan faints from the demonstration of this power. The girl says that she is grateful to the monk for saving her life. Jai understands, although she tried to frame him, he still cannot pass by a lady who found herself in trouble. Mo Lan understands, the bastards from Fasang will return to take revenge. Therefore, they need to come up with some plan to catch them by surprise. The abbot says that they will return and will meet the brick, and if they run away, the brick will fly after them. The lady is glad that the brick was not thrown at her. Zio Kui calls the abbot funny since you rarely hear such phrases from a Buddhist monk. Ning asks her to be quiet, otherwise she will be left without a snack. Ijai says that it is time for him to go and asks her to be careful. Molan does not like how Ning is pretending to be something again, and the abbot obediently goes along, like a child. The abbot greets the lady and says that the abbot heroically saved the beauty, and she wonders how many maiden hearts he has conquered today. The young man says that he is just a poor monk, and Buddha commands him to protect and help people. Suddenly, Yijai declares that he came to Dayton to meet her. The girl does not understand what he means. The monk says that he found that relic. A tear appeared in Ning's eye as soon as she heard this. The abbot says that this religion Sharupshuri is the greatest treasure, and if the girl's fiancé wants to be healed, he must come to Shaolin. Yijai says that no thanks are needed, because the lady herself fought for her happiness and well-being. The girl asks the abbot not to worry, she will definitely bring him the fiancé to the temple. The group is chasing someone, but they claim that everyone is afraid to fight the warriors of Fusang. Yijai was riding a horse on this beautiful day, and they got into a fight here. The boys attack the monk in revenge for their comrade. The abbot considers them reckless, but he will be able to test the divine kung fu on them. Divine kung fu is only a deceptive maneuver, but it has several stages. The second is the will of the goddess of flowers. Yijai walks among the group of beaten warriors of Fusang. In the residence of the governor-general, a soldier reports to Tianqiao. They have gathered 1,000 of the best riders to patrol the borders, but the eagle literally carried the girl in the sky. The princess struggled in the eagle's claws while the soldiers tried to shoot it down. Then they rushed in pursuit, but the eagle flew too fast. Juan kicks his subordinate and calls him a useless idiot. Advisors stand over the young man, but his head is already boiling. He hoped to lose to a great warrior, not some bird. Hua Wutzi says that a martial arts tournament will soon take place, and they will be able to enlist the support of masters. Yanju leaves this to the old man. He himself asks how things are in Shaolin, because his father became a monk there. Shan Mu says that a monk from Shaolin recently attacked his people, and he was just about to take revenge on him. Hua asks not to worry, because in a couple of days this monk will come to them himself, and then they can take revenge. Yanju says that when they capture this province, they will be able to do whatever they want. Yijai asks the nun from whom he took the teacher how she is doing. The girl replies that she is a bit bored after Ning Yizio Kui left. The abbot in that case suggests she change her place of residence and find herself a friend. The young man sees through the system that Ju Min has returned and even invited local heroes. He intends to eavesdrop on their plan. The nun suspects that the abbot wants to expel her, but he says not at all, he will take her to a girl. The girl understood that he was talking about that little shepherdess with a dog. The abbot thinks that such simple-hearted girls easily get along with each other. The boy says, let them take a walk and get to know each other better for now, and he has to return to Shaolin. Min thanks the famous heroes Sima and Jiugong for coming to her aid. Jiugong says that she must understand as a Buddhist nun that in such matters one cannot rush. Sima says that they are here not only to help her. Hard times will soon begin in Zhangzhou, so they will have a chance to prove themselves. Min agrees that their affairs are, of course, more important, but the monk stole not only her sword, he also took her disciple. The partners began laughing, holding their stomachs, while the old woman does not understand what exactly could have made them laugh so much. The mercenaries say that this Shaolin monk not only robbed her, but also knows how to wound, therefore, he is far from simple. Sima says that first they must establish their power in the Zhangyu sect, and only after that will they set out to conquer Shaolin. The nun decided to help them destroy the sect, but they also have to promise to fulfill her request. And Jai, seeing everything through his eagle eye, realized they are going to seize the Zhangyu sect, but he will not allow this to happen. Jiugong and others quietly put the guards to sleep so they will be able to infiltrate and decapitate the sect. Yijai with his disciples stayed nearby all this time. The boy understands they plan to remove the leader, but this must not be allowed. The abbot orders the subordinates to check the rear pavilion, but Tai Niu says they see nothing. The monk says their target is just on the roof of Tai Niu. He orders Tai Niu to set a fire, and Yue Shan is to wake all the monks and lead them to the fire. Min understood they were spotted. She asks Sima and Jiagong to kill Ao Miao, and she will deal with this loudmouth herself. She attacks Yue with her sword. Jai uses the first level strike of the destructive city. Nuns attack Faltersan, she fails at everything. Nun does not understand where such a strong man came from in this wilderness. He looks confused at who are these two and calls his students for help. In the sect, a commotion begins. Someone flies to help the leader and someone sets off to extinguish the fire. Saima does not understand why Min still has not finished off the enemy. The boss puts on a robe and orders the rest to track down the cutthroats. Yijai also wants to see how it all ends after all. They played not the last role in this battle. The nun tells her partners that she can no longer hold back the onslaught of the sect's disciples. Saima tells Jiagong, stop entertaining yourself and show what they are capable of. Suddenly Jiagong uses Aoyang's frog art, and this greatly shocks Yijai. The opponents do not understand what is happening, but the Shaolin abbot sees Jiagong has reached the level of Xianshan in this technique. Ao calls Jiagong a bastard because he mocks his disciples, so he offers to fight him. Releasing green aura, the troublemaker finds it interesting. The man says he will fight to the very end. Saima channels chi into his sword and asks to be allowed to have some fun as well. He uses the technique of 10,000 swords. Yijai realizes, with such strong opponents, the sect cannot cope on its own. Ao is on the edge, so Jiagong and Saima decided to combine their techniques and attack the leader immediately with both slime and swords. Then suddenly Abbot Shaolin bursts in, and with the iron head move throws the scoundrels aside. Boys do not understand who he is and where he came from. He realized that this was the same man who wounded her. He attacks him and is determined to take his life. His subordinates immediately form a wall for him, but the young man assures them that he can handle everything alone. Min hits him right on the head and breaks his sword. Yijai twists her wrist and says that she is the head of a Buddhist sect, so her behavior is incomprehensible to him. Abbot Shaolin throws her into a pillar with all his might because it is an insult to Buddhism. Spitting blood, Min does not understand at all who this young man is. Yijai replies to her that she does not deserve to know this. Nun grabs the sword from the ground and calls him an arrogant brat. Meanwhile, Jiagong and Saima actively fought against the sect members. One of the students understands, these bandits are too strong, and if it continues like this, they will be able to destroy the sect. Fat Man throws a stone at Jiagong, but he effortlessly deflects it and calls the fat man a fool. This brick flies straight at Min's head, and Jai does not understand where it came from. He says that even the heavens themselves cannot tolerate this. He sees how Jiagong destroys the main hall with one strike. He is filled with horror at this frog art. Saima says it's time to retreat and there's no point in continuing the fight, but his comrade understands. These old men will not let them go so easily. Jiagong does not listen and says he first wants to deal with them. After this attack, the guys decided to leave for good. Guys leave behind clouds of smoke for cover. Thanks to his martial art, Yijai disperses the smoke screen. Ao immediately recognizes the lion's roar. The Shaolin abbot says that since the master has already recognized him, he no longer sees any reason to hide. After the fight, Tai Niu gathers the bodies of the sect members. At this time, Yue throws a bone to someone and the man screams in pain and begs for help. The sect leader thanks Yijai despite all past grievances, he came to their aid. Ao says if there is something in Zhangyu worthy of a reward for the monk, he will gladly give it. The abbot thinks that in the master's eyes he looks like a person who only thinks about profit. The monk says he ended up here completely by accident. These bandits planned an attack on the sect, but since the leader has such a biased attitude towards Shaolin, he leaves. The master tells the abbot that he simply misunderstood him. Now the sect has suffered great losses, so he has no ideas on how to repay the young man. Yijai says that monks live by the teachings of Buddha and expect nothing in return, and Buddhists and Taoists strive for the same goal. Ao agrees with the words of the Buddhist and says that he was blind. The leader of Zhangyu wants to ask the master for something. 9 days later, on the way to the martial arts tournament, the heroes from Shaolin sing a song. Yijai likes this song because it conveys the character of Shaolin, unites and raises the fighting spirit, therefore he intends to make it the temple song. The young man becomes curious about what is written in the letters that Yi Kong gave him. The abbot notices that there is quite a lot of text there and hopes that nothing serious is going on. Nun writes to him, who has just met with her abbess. The teacher said that she wants to isolate herself and devote all her efforts to spiritual development, and she managed to stay in Shaolin. She likes living with Sister Ru. The monk was glad that he managed to persuade the nun to say goodbye to her student. Further in the letter, Guan hastens to report that the princess was delivered to the capital safe and sound. Without his help, she would not have been able to bypass the guards. All of Zhangyu's property burned to the ground and they no longer have the means to restore everything, but fortunately, Shaolin bought these lands. And the man whom Yijai asked to find has already begun restoration. At the right opportunity, the old man wants to ask when the new book will be released. Miao turned out to be a rather smart person. Assessing all the destruction soberly, he sold the sect's lands at a very low price. The Shaolin territory is expanding, so it is worth thinking about recruiting new students. Yijai asks Yikong to send one letter back to the temple. Yikong says that Miao handed over a box. He decided that it was something important, so he rushed to catch up with the abbot and bring it as soon as possible. Having read the letter that was attached to it, Jai got angry. The old man, he said, decided to play charades with him. Suddenly the monk turns back and hears something approaching. A man with red hair lying on a horse gallops like a madman. The horse jumped right over the crowd. All members of the Yijai squad prepared for battle. Passers-by just walk by with branches and do not understand at all what is happening. The man says he left early in the morning and still is not first, but the monk rode on horseback and he on a donkey, and even so he managed to overtake those two idiots. Yijai says, although the road is wide, he walks on the roadside looking at people whose hearts for him are like thickets, a dense forest. It may not always be convenient to go in a large company, but in any case, it is better than traveling alone. The wanderer asks the monk to say something. He considers him like Buddha in the flesh. He tells him that there is not a single hair on his head. This hits the abbot in the most painful spot. The monk got offended because this one-eyed man does not seem to be a pirate. Then why does he wear an eye patch? And he mocked him literally within a few sentences. Jai teases him and closes his left eye. The wanderer calls the monk a bastard because he decided to mock him. By his strength, he influences the mind of Abbot Shaolin's horse. He almost always thought that the monks were out of touch with life, but today his opinion changed. And Yijai realized this old man is not so simple. In Jianghu, there are plenty of strongmen, so he needs to be more careful. The guys arrived at the martial arts exhibition. The temple abbot asks, be more careful and avoid fights. The men sitting at the table discuss the attack of the demon sect commanders on the Tianyahai pavilion. The monk thinks, could this be the same man they met on the road, Zhou Chen? The second wanderer says he himself saw the one-eyed tiger and the multicolored phoenix Luo Kei. The abbot, hearing their conversation, began to understand what Miao wrote about. In the first line, if you put together some letters, it spells Chen Qi. Chen Qi is Ao's real name, so this phrase means Chen Qi has returned home. The letters from the second sentence form Hua Wuzi, and then it talks about some beggars. But here is the cold winter wind. It seems that if they attack him, it definitely won't be in time for the tournament. And the soldiers are clearly not ordinary guards. A strange aura emanates from them. Yijai suspects that this tournament is a trap, so he does not want to endanger his guards. Monk Niu says to follow him. He wants to come up with something so they can go first. The abbot grabs Qin by the scruff and orders him to follow him. And Jai feels that something is wrong here. He thinks their squad might walk into an ambush. Jai asks not to make noise, just to listen to him. The abbot of the temple has just found out what is wrong with this tournament, and Qin must take the abbot's place and take everyone back to Shaolin. The disciple believes that if some danger has appeared, they need to face it together. The abbot says that there are already few disciples in the Shaolin temple, so their safety is above all. Qin barely holds back tears. He is very worried about the abbot. And Jai asks not to worry. If things go badly with the robots, he can easily leave using his powers. Otherwise, he will constantly worry about his disciples. The monk asks him to go and bring back all the disciples safe and sound. And Qin, sobbing, says they will wait for their abbot in the temple. Jai remains alone with his faithful horse. In expensive attire, the monk arrives at the sanctioned sect. With the help of his all-seeing eye, the monk notices that the Alliance soldiers attacked an important person in Jianghu. The abbot notices something strange. These people are looking at him. He suspects they are spies of the Skyways Alliance. His robe is too bright, so the young man thinks they are looking at him because of it. Such robes are always worn on holidays, and it serves its purpose. While they are distracted by Yijai, Yiqin and others can quietly leave. The abbot sees a bunch of beggars here and thinks Zhangzhou has lured them to its side, and since the two main forces of Zhangzhou have united, other sects simply have no chance against them. The abbot of the Shaolin temple is invited to his place. He was given a wonderful place, and if some scuffle starts, he will simply jump over the wall. Suddenly, the head of the alliance appears in public, the abbot of the Songshan sect known to all as the blade that swirls in the snow, Hua Wuzi. Yijai thinks Wuzi looks very formidable. He exudes an icy aura, and from such a person, nothing good is to be expected. The head of the alliance begins his speech and says, recently, rumors have been circulating that a war is about to break out in Zhangzhou and the imperial army will destroy them. But in reality, these are dirty rumors from the demonic sect. And the monk thinks about his own matters. The princess has already returned to the capital, so he does not understand why the emperor has not yet sent troops to Zhangzhou. In that case, the head of the alliance intends to register all sects willing to join them, and all who refuse will be considered their enemies. And Yijai already understands how much their minds have been brainwashed. Hua portrayed the confrontation between Jianghu and the capital as a struggle between good and evil sects. A man descends from above and asks the abbot of Shaolin from Mount Shaomu if he agrees to join the alliance of the Heavenly Way. The man thanks Hua Wuzi for this proposal. He did not think their small temple would be noticed. He heard that Master Hua is proficient in martial arts, also has high moral qualities, and is one of the strongest warriors, so no one will dare disobey his order. The head of the alliance is confident that Buddha approves of killing demons, as it is a good deed not only for people but also for the heavens. He thinks the monk just wants to buy time. Yijai says that Hua misunderstood him, but if he needs an answer as soon as possible, he will ask Buddha right now. Spectators laugh at him, and someone says that Wuzi is scared. The great warrior says, if this is the will of the abbot of Shaolin, let him show them a show. But suddenly an unnamed soldier appears at the performance. He says that the leader of the alliance managed to intimidate people, but the man is not afraid of him. The old man easily and effortlessly dodges the stranger's attacks. For Yijai, this is a chance to escape. Hua Wuzi is too strong for him. The head of the Skypath Alliance strikes the swordsman right in the stomach. He begins coughing up blood. The stranger says that Hua is not bad and will return once more to take revenge. The old man, smiling slyly, replies that he has positioned archers outside so anyone who dares to come out will die. The group praises their leader. Someone stealthily attacks Hua Wuzi. Do-chin says that the old man decided to talk before dying and calls him a clown. The man calls everyone idiots and suggests they look at their own faces. Everyone present understood that this was the one-eyed tiger, but they consider Hua the strongest master in the whole world. Opposing armies met in a duel. Two soldiers stand aside and think that the rest will manage without them when suddenly from behind, over their backs, a silhouette appears. Suddenly it is Yijai and he breaks right through them. The soldier of the demon army orders the bald head to stop. The monk was running and did not notice what he ran into. Turns out the girl in the white dress is being attacked by members of the Skypath Alliance. Later it becomes clear, this girl is not ordinary and easily repels their attack. She does not understand who dared to hit her, so she slaughters everyone in succession, and Yijai tries to escape. Hua tells King Yu that he is a scoundrel who ruined his plan. The old man intends to sacrifice him in honor of the tournament's beginning. Do-chin calls him overconfident and attacks with both hands wielding a sword. The head of the alliance calls the one-eyed tiger a weakling. The demon says if the head of the alliance wants him to fight for real, he is not capable of it. Hua asks Zheng and Sima to help him. Do-chin tells Luo Kei to take them on because he needs to rest a bit. The girl says that everything is on her. The boys are surprised by her speed and tell Hua that they have problems. When Yijai recognizes them, they are the ones who destroyed the Zhangyu sect. The monk does not understand whether they joined the alliance or if the attack on Zhangyu was an order from the heavenly path from the very beginning. The young man realizes that the tournament will no longer take place and it is time for him to leave. Suddenly, a girl calls him, asks what he is doing here, because he is neither from the Heavenly Path Alliance nor from the demon sect. The abbot says that he was just passing by, and he is curious about what she is doing here. Girl says she is watching her father fight that one-eyed man. Yijai asks her, could she really be the daughter of Hua Wuzi? She lunges at the monk and says that now she knows who will kill him. The monk tells her to come to her senses and lower the sword. Girl attacks with her claws and says she will take his life. He begins to scratch his precious clothing. Yijai no longer intends to endure this. The monk applies the first level of martial arts, Scorch Flowers. The daughter of the alliance leader does not understand what kind of technique this is. Using the technique of red petals, he envelops her. The little girl, covered in wounds, falls to the ground. Yijai did not think she would fall unconscious after all. He did not use the strongest technique. Suddenly, Hua Wuzi's daughter attacks him with her claws. The monk smiles and asks why she is so weak. The girl breaks her nails on his iron head. The abbot uses Tunzigong, pure Qi energy. He is surprised, where does a simple monk possess Yang energy? Tunzigong, pure Yang, divine Kung Fu, and it is also necessary for studying the 9 Yang divine Kung Fu. Suddenly, Hua Wuzhi's daughter found a person with pure Yang energy, and Jai does not understand what she has to do with his Yang energy. She says she has been suffering from this illness for more than 10 years, and he must save her. The abbot gets angry and says he is a monk, not a doctor. The young man orders her to appear at the hospital or to a healer, but the girl insists only pure yang energy can save her. Zai Oh-hyun falls to her knees and begs her to save her. After all, she will die in 3 years. Jai asks her how he can help her. First way to save her is to become lovers. She is a decent girl, so she asks not to be forced. Monk says he never intended to, and even if she asked, the young man would not engage in that. The second option is to use pure yang energy daily to expel the negative yin from her body, and since the abbot has already entered Xianshan, it will take no more than a month. The abbot understands. He must not know because he has not yet reached that level. And Jai says that during the last training he made a serious mistake, so his internal strength weakened and now it will take him a year or even 1.5 to heal her. Girl says Zio-hun can wait and asks to heal her. Do-chin says, Hua, do you still want to compete with him? The head of the alliance says if he had not missed, he would not have lost to the one-eyed tiger. The old man says that Hua is to blame for this himself. The man replies to him that he has a tough character, but not much intelligence. Hua says that one day he will return and conquer this mountain with his blood. The one-eyed tiger tells him that he must not even dare to run away. Suddenly the head of the Heavenly Path Alliance disappears and the old man is amazed. After all, this is a demonic technique. Monk does not understand where this bloody curtain came from. Ben does not understand where Master Hua has gone. Lua attacks him and is surprised. How dare her opponent look around during the fight. He is wounded in the shoulder and he says he can no longer continue, but asks Sima to carry on. Sima replies to Zhen that he is a traitor. Lua does not let him rest and also attacks Sima while he is distracted. Suddenly her gaze catches Yijai, so much noise from the girl Hua, so she noticed them. He recalls the bald monk and says that he was the one who touched her. Yijai realized that he was targeted. He tells the young lady it's time for him to go, so they will talk later. Lua approaches the fence and the girl asks how she can find the abbot later. The warrior woman calls the monk a pervert and orders him to stop. Hua's daughter got angry and did not understand who was chasing her source of pure yang. The monk dodges the blows with all his might. He does not understand at all how he could become a pervert since he did nothing. The Shaolin abbot is horrified by her attacks. It seems she has definitely reached the middle Xianshan. Boy does not understand why she is so fast. Lua calls him a lustful scoundrel and says he will not escape from her anywhere. Yijai realizes this madwoman is too fast. If he tries to fly on the eagle, he will become a living target. The monk asked to stop chasing him because he had no evil intentions. The lady noticed that he had mastered some techniques of Haoshan, but that was not enough to hide from her. Sooner or later she would reach him. Suddenly Zai Oh-hyun appears ordering not to touch her bearer of pure yang. Lua was angry because they dared to attack her using such childish techniques. The one-eyed tiger's servant tells Hua's daughter that they are of different levels. From the force of the blow, Lua the girl saves herself by jumping from one tree to another, breaking them with her own body. Suddenly he rushed and Jai leapt to the edge of the abyss, realizing even the heavens themselves want to kill him. The lady says that she has finally caught up with him. She attacks him and does not understand why the monk no longer runs away. The boy clothes himself with armor and does not think that he can do anything differently. And Jai tells the lady that her sword is useless against him. Therefore, he suggests she calm down and talk, but she does not understand how her chi can have no effect on this pervert. Lua has no intention of dialoguing with him and says that if she cannot wound him, she will simply throw him off the cliff. The abbot screams and pretends as if he is incredibly scared. The lady says that this happens to everyone who tries to grab her. Monk says that there isn't a drop of compassion in her. Jai uses the iron head technique and destroys the cliff. The girl's mask flies off and she falls straight down. Shaolin abbot calls for help from his golden eagle. The monk can't grab on because of the girl's attack. Lua calls him a pervert and tells him, don't even think about salvation. He immediately realized what he was planning. Jai doesn't understand where her hatred for him comes from. The monk understands he is falling too fast. There's nothing to hold on to. He needs to somehow reduce the speed. Boy takes his robe and spreads it out, imitating a parachute. Boy thinks it worked, but the girl falls right on his head. Fortunately, the abbot of Shaolin landed right on the head, otherwise he would really have had to meet Buddha. Lua lies on the ground and cries through the pain. Yijai says that it seems this is their punishment for what happened, so he suggests ending the fight. Suddenly, the servant of the one-eyed tiger starts spitting blood. The girl says that if Yijai had not destroyed the rock, she would not have fallen. The boy is stunned. She just spat blood but still wants to argue with him. The monk says that his heart cannot bear the thought a young, beautiful girl will die here alone among the mountains. Yijai says that he follows Buddha's teachings and knows well the value of life, so he gives her a pill that will heal most of the wounds she received. Lua says that let him eat it himself since he is so merciful. Monk puts the pill into his sleeve and says that the lady does not trust him, so she is cautious. Then Yijai gives her all the medicine because a calm mind and selfless kindness are the pillars of Buddhism. Shaolin Abbot says that there is no difference who lost who won. The girl asks the monk if he is not afraid that she will heal and kill him. The young man calmly sits down and says that if the lady decided to kill him, then that is his fate. Lua catches a familiar smell. Such pills are made in the southern Shaolin, and it seems they are genuine. If the monk decided to poison her, she will take him with her to the other world. The boy takes his pill from his sleeve and throws it into his mouth. The girl's wounds have almost completely healed from this medicine, and her internal energy has almost fully recovered, and it seems she was not lied to. Lua decides to check this and moves closer. She offers to join them. Yijai says that as a monk, he has renounced worldly goods, so changing religion like that is not proper. He grabs him by the face and says that he is lying. The girl believes that he is in conspiracy with the Sky Path Alliance, although he pretends to be a noble monk. Yijai says that she misunderstood him, and he came to the martial arts tournament because he was invited. The young man had no idea about the conspiracy. Lua thinks that he could very well have accidentally bumped into her. The lady says that, according to the majority, the killing of demons is the will of the heavens, so she does not understand why the monk did not join Hua Wutsi. The boy says that demons and evil spirits scare people and kill them. They can also attack the followers of Buddha. Their souls hide evil intentions and they will never help anyone. That clash between the demon sect and the martial arts schools is just a matter of human desire for power, and there are neither right nor wrong here. Lua looks surprised that he really thinks so, and Yijai says these are his true feelings. Monk says that he cannot say what he really thinks. The girl believes him this time, but if he lies, she will find him on the other side of the world and kill him. The abbess thinks that she has calmed down a bit, and this seems to be a good sign. Yijai thinks that he needs to win her trust while she is in a good mood because otherwise she will kill him at the first opportunity. Monk noticed his cloak hanging on a branch. It started to rain, and the young man suggests they find a cave to shelter from it. And it will be bad if it gets worse, and Lua mutters to herself that the abbot has jinxed it. The girl says she will not sit in the same cave with a lustful monk. Yijai kneels down with his back to Lua, and she does not understand what he is doing. The lady shakes her head and says she can walk on her own. Monk says that not all her wounds have healed yet and they are still untreated. If rainwater gets on them, infection may start. The young man says that if she notices any indecent behavior from him, let her kill him, and doing it from behind will be much easier. Yijai asks for forgiveness and takes pity on him because so many people saw her chasing after him. They will decide that he killed her. The recent opponents hid in a cave and warmed themselves by the fire. Lua got very wet and started sneezing. Monk began to take off his robe. The girl calls him a pervert and says if he takes one more step closer, she will not be responsible for herself. Yijai throws a cloak over Lua and tells her not to get sick. Lua thought he was a complete friend, so she considers Abbot a good person. Although in his soul the monk considers her a very attractive girl. Through the rain, the monk cannot contact either the eagle or the horse. Suddenly, the system announces that the monthly lottery is now available, and the monk immediately understands. This is very timely. The girl wakes up in the morning near the dying campfire and does not notice the monk nearby. Lua realized that her companion had disappeared. Demonic servants call the girl with a scream. The lady orders them to stop shouting because she is here. The guys are happy that they found their comrade. Lua cold-bloodedly ordered them to stop staring, otherwise she would gouge out their eyes. The lady is interested in how they managed to find her. The little girl says that after the scuffle with the Alliance they were already about to leave when suddenly they realized they had lost Lua. The search party wandered, having no clue where to look for the girl, when suddenly an eagle appeared and dropped a sign with her location. Lua understands, most likely the monk sent them a message, but she is unclear how he himself managed to get up the cliff. Yijai learned a new movement technique with it. One can even jump over rivers. But as soon as the abbot started to speed up, he stepped on a frog and slipped. He no longer had any internal energy left, but he thinks that now he might be able to get up. The young man grabs the reins and exhales. He is saved. Monk from Shaolin is saved by his faithful steed. Yijai cries with joy because in the most difficult moments she helps him out. The horse tells him to take his hands away, and the abbot asks not to be shy and to embrace. The abbot exhales. He is glad that it is all over and hopes that Qin and the others have returned safely and unharmed. Meanwhile, in the bamboo forest, Zheng attacks some old man. The boy severely maims the stranger. The old man cannot understand where such a young man gets so much strength. The old man decided to break the distance and rushed even further. And the exhausted to the edge stranger falls to the ground. He cannot run further. His ribs are completely broken. The old man thought that today was his end, but suddenly he is knocked down by a stallion and Yijai. The abbot says that this old man is to blame himself because one must look around. The young man kicks him with his foot and asks if he is all right. Yijai thinks that he killed this Mr. Monk uses chi to bring this stranger back to consciousness. The abbot says that he always takes responsibility for his actions, so he could not just leave. Before him and the system appeared a choice, either heal the one who is dying or instant death. Mr. is surprised to see a Shaolin monk here. He does not understand what he is doing here. Yijai does not understand how this old man could know him. He removes his bandage and ties his hair into a ponytail. The Shaolin abbot recognizes Mr. Chea, but it is unclear to him what he forgot on Mount Sheamu. The old man grabs his shoulder and says that this is his business, and some snot-nosed kid doesn't need to know about it. Yijai sees there is someone in the forest besides them. Diagong calls Chai an old bastard because he decided to run away after a few strikes of his frog art. The abbot asks, could it be that now the frog spirit will haunt him everywhere? The warrior sees a dazzling bald spot, and it seems to him that he has seen it somewhere before. Diagong realizes it's him, and Luo Kei was chasing him and he is still alive. The boy says that this old man stole his kung fu and they have to help him. Ao doesn't understand what nonsense he is talking about. Yijai thinks that they should turn to the authorities to settle this matter, and it's time for him to leave. The abbot from Shaolin has just climbed this mountain and was not going to get involved in trouble again. The old man doesn't understand how a monk can just leave like that. Diagong says that this is their battle and outsiders should not interfere. Kao takes out a gold ingot. He wants to pay for the help and will give another one as soon as the monk deals with him. Yijai could not even imagine that this scoundrel was so rich. Due to the recent epidemic in Jiangsu, the amount of donations sharply fell and therefore, they could no longer buy food for the sick. The abbot from Shaolin hides the ingot in his sleeve and says that it is not about the money he was just passing by. The old man shows 2 ingots and says he will give these 2 gold ingots for salvation. The monk tells Mr. Zhang that killing will negatively affect their karma, so he suggests forgetting about it all. Zhang realizes this bald man is not so simple. He managed to escape from Luo Kei, and he is also seriously wounded. Yijai understands Zhang definitely will not dare to attack him. The young man says that he is seriously wounded and does not want any trouble. The abbot proposes to arrange a duel of 3 moves. If he cannot convince to leave this gentleman alone, then the poor monk will immediately leave. Zhang does not believe him. The young man realizes he is still one of the strongest masters and has also reached Xianshan. Zhang takes a fighting stance and suggests to start. The boy understands if he applies a chokehold, the monk definitely won't break free from it in 2 moves. Yijai is not that simple. He turns around and throws a lion's roar right in the enemy's face. The old man, watching everything, still doesn't understand what just happened. Turning at the sound, Chai notices a huge crater from the monk's strike. The Shaolin abbot says he hates people who don't keep their promises, so he asks the master not to forget to fulfill his. Master Chai falls to the ground unconscious. Yijai shows mercy. Standing with a rope on his shoulder, he offers to give him a ride. The guy ties the old man to the horse and drags him by the rope, pulling him along. The Shaolin abbot finally arrived at his native temple. As soon as he stepped on the threshold, everyone rushed to greet him and rejoice at his return. Jin cries and the young man orders not to get upset. Tomorrow he will check if they missed training. Yijai asks his deputy if there were any problems during his absence. Yichen says that everything is fine, but without their abbot, Shaolin seems to have lost its character, and even the nameless monk started sweeping again. The abbot believes that Du Laisai is wandering back and forth like a ghost. The monk greets the elder and says that they have not seen each other for a long time. Du Laisai greets him in return in the same way. Yijai asks his deputy what he wanted to tell him. The man hesitantly mumbles something. Yichen says that it is related to the alliance of the Way of Heaven. After what happened in Songshan, it was disbanded. Now the big and small martial arts schools are fighting for power, but without the alliance's management, everything got out of control. The sects fell apart, bandits are acting lawlessly, and this affects the common people. The old man says that recently the Shaolin temple has been sacrificing a lot of food, but it will soon run out. If nothing is done, the day is not far when they will have to beg for alms themselves. Yijai says that he knows about this problem. Still, the alliance of the Way of Heaven had a truly great influence. The abbot asks Chen to gather all the novices to discuss the future of the temple. And the monk says he will go rest. The old man looks confused. The abbot dumped all the work on him and is going to sleep himself. Suddenly Ningwengjin arrives at Shaolin. The girl arrives with her fiancé, and the young gentleman cannot tear himself away from the temple. It impresses him.